What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Relentless Project. My guest today has lived about 5 different lifetimes, and he's just getting started. When 9/11 happened during his senior year of high school in Sacramento, he didn't wait around. At 17 years old, he signed an Army Ranger contract. He graduated Ranger Indoctrination Program, RIP, went to the 3rd Ranger Battalion, became a sniper, and racked up 4 deployments to Iraq and 2 to Afghanistan. But that was just chapter 1. After getting out, he walked onto a junior college baseball team, studied electrical engineering at Auburn, and landed an internship at NSA. Realizing a desk job wasn't for him, he spent the next 8 years as a government contractor in Iraq and Syria. Today, the wars are behind him. He has built what he calls the new American dream. He lives on a multi-family farm with 25 horses and a wood stove. He is the commissioner of his local youth baseball league, a dedicated husband, and a father to 3 kids. He also works with Sharp Performance, bringing special operations level resilience and mindset training to our veterans, law enforcement, and first responders. Alex Cabral, welcome to the Relentless Project.
You are now tuning in to the Relentless Project. Real people, real stories, real life.
Ish, my man. Thank you, brother.
How does it hear an introduction about yourself?
I was just thinking about that because, like, you're rattling that stuff off, and honestly, it's like a lot of the things you're talking about there is like a lifetime ago. It's been like a fever dream. Like, that actually happened, and I'm blessed to hear somebody say it out loud in front of me like this. Is it's cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm reading all this and I'm like, oh, there's more. Oh, there's more. Oh, there's more. I'm like, this literally multiple lifetimes packed into one main reel.
Thank you. And it's, that's the theme of life, right? Nothing's linear. Those people are out there who have a plan and they just execute it. I'm not one of them. None of those steps that led to the next was planned more than a year out,
Really?
Yeah, 9/11 happened, joined the Army. Right after that, left the Army. I was 6 months from getting out. I was like, damn, what do I do? And my dad was like, hey, there's a local junior college like right around the corner from you. You should try out. Like, you were good in high school. Try out. And I was like, yeah, I should do that. And I did that. One thing leads to another.
Interesting. I have a question because I talk to people, a lot of vets, and they go into the service first.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of life experience. And then they go to college and they're dealing with kids who've never, first time out of the house, first time on their own.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how was that for you being in the military, and not just like, you decided to go in the military, you were in the mix, and then kind of going not backwards, but backwards life size, right? Like life reference, because people usually go to college first.
Yeah.
So now you're going to college, having matured, having learned a lot about life, a lot about yourself, a lot about the world. How was that experience going to college after leaving the military or experiencing the military?
I've done this twice. I've had this experience twice. The first time, was when I got out of the Army and went to college, where I got out of the Army, I think I was 24, and my peers are all 18. And that's not that big a difference, but to those 18-year-olds, it is.
Oh, it's a huge difference, especially not just age, but like I said, that life experience at 18. A lot of people are going to college. This is my first time out of the house. My mom and dad don't have to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
You're like, bro, I've been living in the sand dunes for.
I mean, it's the same thing when you join the Army. I didn't have mom or dad tell me what to do, but I sure had a drill sergeant tell me what to do. I had a squad leader telling me what to do.
That's fair.
So, in very real ways, the military is very spoon-fed. Just show up. It's like having a mom and dad. A second time, we're going to bounce around a lot, I know, but the second time I experienced that was when I left contracting, and I needed a way home. I needed to be home for my children, and I knew I didn't want to go back to electrical engineering, and we'll talk about that a little later. I got an entry-level sales job. Again, my peers are fresh college graduates. I'm knocking on 40, and they're all 22, 23 years old, in just a completely different space in life. So I've done that twice, and it's humbling because like I'm not special. Like I got to put the work in and earn it too. You don't get to go be a sales guy making a ton of money right off the bat. You got to go grind it out with the kids right out of college.
What were you selling initially?
Yeah, first time I had a connection who
Say life insurance.
I would. It was a tech sales.
Okay.
I worked for a company called Rippling.
Okay.
And that was, Rippling is considered this unicorn startup, an insane trajectory, venture capital backed startup, all with the best foundation and co-founders all came in to this project. And they're known as like one of the best sales machines in the business. So I had a really good foundation there, but I was at the bottom, working my way up.
Bottom of the top.
Yeah, that's right.
If you're going to start somewhere, start, somewhere that's
I did. I was
got that.
very lucky to get on at Rippling.
So let's go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Back in the old days. No. How old are you now? I don't know. Not
40,
to be...
41.
Okay, 41.
41.
All right. Well, hey, whatever you're having, I'll take 2. So you at 17, most 17-year-olds are figuring out, am I going to get a car? What college am I going to go to? Got to do my, in Pennsylvania, we call them the PSSAs, your ACTs, all that. You go a different route. What was the deciding factor of you joining the military at 17? Because I joined the Guard at 17. I needed my mother's permission.
Yeah.
She didn't speak English. So I told her she needed to sign all this paperwork, which we're past it now, so nothing. Hopefully, no one can get in trouble. I was like, you need to fill all this. She's like, this is a lot of paperwork just to talk to a recruiter. I'm like, yeah, it's a military. Like it's very serious.
Yeah.
So she signed my enlistment paperwork without her knowing.
Sweet.
So what was your deciding factor? Mine, I was just like, I need to do something different.
The big driver was, I had the framework laid. Any good red-blooded American boy has had his share of propaganda and war films. And, I've thought like I could do that. And then 9/11 hits, and like this is it. This is my war. I'm going to go serve. Now, I had these ideas of, going to college, playing baseball, and I am so happy that I didn't do that. I lacked the life skills. I lacked the maturity. I lacked a lot. I think if I would have done that, I would have just folded in that environment, being independent. I really look up to these college kids who are 18 years old, leaving home and going out on their own. I mean, that's not easy. And they have the structure and the discipline to like work on college and do their thing. But in retrospect, glad I didn't do that. It was, seeing the movies, thinking I could do that, and, feeling the call.
So you feel the call, and a lot of people join the military. You're feeling patriotic.
Mm-hmm.
You join the military, but that wasn't enough for you, right? For a lot of people, the military it's a career.
Yeah.
You dove even deeper into the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So how does that come to be? Is that an opportunity that presented itself, or watching the movies and being inspired, were you like, I want to be those guys?
Yeah, I think so. Black Hawk Down had just come
Classic
out.
movie.
Classic movie. And I was like, oh, there's something called Rangers out there? Like, what is this? And then there was an incident right after 9/11 in Afghanistan known as Roberts Ridge. Are you familiar with this event?
I've heard about it. I haven't read about it.
Roberts Ridge is this incident where there's a SEAL team. They're doing a hot pickup in an LZ, and last name is Roberts. He's a SEAL. He's not clipped in, and Chinook takes off fast, and it dumps him out the back of the helicopter off the ramp. He's stranded by himself. inevitably they call for QRF. I think actually before that, the SEAL team regathers, realize they don't have anybody on the aircraft, and they launch a rescue plan. I think a Medal of Honor was awarded during that rescue plan.
Is this where the chain of command basically said they couldn't go in and rescue him because it was too dangerous? Or is this a different incident?
I'm sure that was said, but I think this is a different incident.
Okay.
But there's another Medal of Honor that was won during this, an Air Force guy by the name of John Chapman. Please look up his story. Incredible. I think there's a movie coming out about it soon. But John Chapman's story is incredible. And the situation falls apart. Dudes are injured after the first rescue attempt by the organic SEAL team going up to get him. And they call in the QRF, the Rangers. And Roberts Ridge happens. They land, and a bunch of Rangers sprint up a hill in waist-deep snow under withering fire, and they go secure the crash site. They go secure everything. So, incredible story.
Are you saying the Army saved the Navy?
Oh, man. It's a theme. The SEALs are going to hate to hear that, but it is a theme.
I know 2 specific SEALs who listen. I'm just the host.
I work with so many SEALs, and they're my boys. I would never bad talk the SEALs because, man, those guys are the best at what they do.
Friendly banter.
But this incident was well recorded and cataloged in a Time magazine. I remember my parents got this Time magazine in, and on the cover it had the map and everybody's faces who died and like the scheme of maneuver and the timeline of events, and I was hooked. I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. So that was like right before I was thinking about signing up, and I saw that shit. I was like, I got to do this. So it inspired me. Those two things.
Which is interesting, right? Because some people would see that and go, I am so glad there are people who make that decision to do this, right?
Yeah.
And then there's other people who are like, I need to be the one to make this decision.
Every boy needs a fight to fight. Every boy who feels like they haven't, proved themselves, they feel that call. Like they got to go prove themselves. They got to do something. And that's definitely a young man's game, but I was that kid.
How long until enlisting in the military and then being able to go into selections? Like how does that work?
It's very different among all the different special operations. But when I joined, you signed what's called an Option 40 contract, or the Ranger contract. And you join the Army, you go to basic training, and then you graduate that, you go to airborne school. You graduate that, then you go on to RIP. There's usually a brief hold before you go to RIP, the Ranger Indoctrination Program. And then once that started, it was a 3-week selection. And back when I went through, it was just a suck fest. There were some tests, you had your land nav test, you had your ruck march test, PT. There are some basic gates that you had to pass, and people do fail those a lot. But it was 3 weeks of just getting your ass handed to you.
Yeah.
And we're going to make someone quit. Is it going to be you? I started with 128, graduated with 23. I think that was a pretty steep attrition. I think it's usually closer to like 40% that make it, not whatever that was.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
What is that? Like, what are you telling yourself through your, like, how old were you when you were going through selections first?
I turned 18 in basic training. So I was 18 years old. I was freshly 18.
Oh, so you went straight from basic, AIT, airborne.
Rolled right into it. Yeah.
Right,
I didn't have
RIP.
any time at like another unit, no time in the military yet.
So you're doing this at 18.
Yeah.
And you can quit at any time.
But most kids do. Most Ranger candidates are just boys. They're just 18-year-olds right out of high school.
And that's what blows my mind.
Yeah.
We have, the war movies, the stories, you hear about everything happening overseas. Mm-hmm. These are like young boys.
They all are. I mean, if you take the basic fighting platoon, whether it's the military, the SEALs, they're all under 25. There's a platoon sergeant and a platoon leader. The platoon sergeant might be knocking on 30, but they're all boys.
And they're looking at the 30-year-old like it's time to give it up, old man, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So, what'd you end up doing? You were a sniper in the
Yeah.
for the Rangers?
I did 3 years in the line platoon, so just like your basic infantry unit, but in Ranger Battalion, where you're kicking indoors, blocking positions. You're the main assault on a raid, and then after 3 years, I tried out for our sniper selection.
How's that process? Because I've heard a lot of stories about different types of sniper selections, and they're all wild to me. You have to have a great memory. You have to have attention to detail. You have to have great PT.
You do.
Which blows my mind because our snipers on our team lay in the grass all day. But why do you have to have good PT? I hope you're listening. Because every time I have to carry the ram over, I'm like, can you help it? Well, we have to overwatch. I'm like,
Man,
dude.
I landed on a big mission in Afghanistan as a sniper one time. I had my 2 teammates with me, and the plan was like, hey, we'll just land with the main assault, and we're gonna sprint up this mountaintop. Beautiful, beautiful Overwatch. Sprint up this mountaintop. That was so stupid. Like,
sounded cool,
sprinting up. I led the way. I was sprinting up. I made it 100 meters and was gassed. And I was like, we're doing a bounding Overwatch. Go around me. And my teammates were like, you shitbag. We're not sprinting up anywhere. You're tired. You're taking the first break. So, PT is important. You got to get in position. But the selection process at Ranger Battalion, at 3rd Ranger Battalion, they're all different. When I was there wasn't a standardized among the 3 battalions selection process, but they knew we want the best volunteers from each line unit. When you come in, you're going to get your basic assessment, PT, 5-mile run, 12-mile ruck march, all the basic gates that you always do. I think there was a land nav portion. There's an interview, psych interview. They did, you said the memory and attention to detail. They did a Kim's game. If you're not, you familiar with the Kim's game? Snipers do that.
Is that the you get a box, or you get told to memorize? Yeah. Which is, I don't think I could do that without stress.
I'm terrible with that, so I'm surprised I passed any of that stuff. But that was kind of the selection, just a basic and then an interview. So you better be the right person because it requires a certain personality. You can't get these rigid line guys, these rigid door kickers to come in being snipers. You need guys who are creative, guys who are willing to bend and break the rules, guys who can roll with it, guys who can work well with others. You don't want someone on your team who's going to rub everybody the wrong way because, in the end, as a sniper, you're not the main effort. You are a support piece. You're supporting the main effort. So, you'll do your best to support them how you can, and you'll try to influence them with how you're best employed. Oftentimes, that's the hardest part about being a sniper is the main element doesn't know how to utilize you. So you need to be an expert and tell them how to be utilized properly. So that's kind of what goes into selection. The biggest part is probably personality and saying, is this the right guy? Because everybody in Ranger Battalion can pass these basic standards. We're all there. We just need to make sure that you're passing it.
Yeah, it takes a lot of mental control, patience, isolation.
Yeah.
Right? Like, are you okay with being essentially alone?
Yeah.
As just a support.
I think, we always got a sniper buddy. You're always in pairs. I don't ever think I found myself alone.
But it's one thing to have, two like we were what was 2 squads, 3 squads approaching a structure or something.
Yeah.
And then we have, 2 of our snipers over here.
Yeah.
2 over here.
Doing their own thing.
Just you and it's just you and your buddy. Yep. You and your buddy. So it's like, for me, being on our team, being an operator, I feel very emboldened and comfortable. I'm like, if anything happens to me, I know this guy is he's got it.
Yeah.
And if for some crazy reason something happens to him, you don't want to get to the 3rd guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like as a sniper, I can only imagine you're out there. Not only that, I feel there's a lot of pressure because if you miss something, right? You're Overwatch, you're information gathering, you're scouting, you're like, if you miss something, it jeopardizes your team.
Yeah, sure does. We had a mission, and you talk about inspiration for going on to the next thing. I was in Mosul in 2004, and the target, the pace in hitting these targets was like every single night, and we got in this good rhythm. And sometimes you hit dry holes, and sometimes you find the guy, and sometimes you get in something a little kinetic. This one night, we hit a target just like all the other ones, and our guys are stacked up outside of a courtyard. And right when they hit the breach, they start getting withering gunfire from a guy on a rooftop, and they're pinned down. One of our guys got shot going through the breach, and our dudes are about to perish. This guy, he doesn't have night vision, so he can't really pinpoint. The enemy can't really pinpoint these guys. But who knocks this guy down? The sniper, who's in just perfect position, saves everybody. He's the hero. These two guys, and I saw that. I was like, I have to do that. I have to do what those guys are doing. Those guys went ahead of the assault force, climbed up on a rooftop, set in Overwatch, and they're the heroes. It was badass.
It is badass.
Yeah.
A lot of times they'll get used as like the scout team before our team gets sent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, go out there, find a position, gather as much information as the team essentially assembles, right?
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of responsibility that comes with being a sniper.
Yeah.
And I for some reason, I feel like you have to be tall and slim. Every sniper I see, they're tall, slim, and
Sick.
run very fast. I'm like, I don't think I could be a sniper. The rifle's taller than me. I'm 5'7" on a good day. Which, in your opinion, what was the toughest role to be in, right? Because I'm trying to equate it. You do Jiu Jitsu, right? You've trained Jiu Jitsu, dabbled.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard like the hardest belt to get is the white belt, right? Because you have to actually make the decision to go, and then after that you have knowledge, you have a little bit of fitness, so now it's easier to kind of roll into the next one. Applying it to the military, what was the toughest role that you found yourself in? Was it making the decision to enlist? Was it joining, getting into a team? Was it joining the Rangers? Was it being a sniper in the Rangers? Because I feel like you're gaining more discipline, you're gaining more knowledge, you're gaining more wherewithal the more you go. However, is it exponentially harder, or does it get easier given all the experience?
Definitely
which one was the hardest for you?
And this is a unique answer, I think, because obviously everyone's going to answer it differently. But I found it to be hardest when I got to Ranger Battalion. After I graduated, everything I got there, things got easier as I went on because I learned. But when I showed up to my unit, I lacked some serious, discipline. I lacked a lot of stuff, and the military was so good for me in that. When I showed up to my platoon, it was like, this isn't the hardest part yet. The hardest part is going to be hanging with us. And my squad leader, my team leader, they handed my ass to me daily. I remember the first day of PT where I didn't throw up. It was terrible. And they were hard as shit on me because, they could see, like, I'd be late for stuff. What? You can't be late for stuff. Like, the look on their faces, like, you're late? What are you doing? Like, you can't do that.
It's like you're new.
Yeah.
You're young.
Yeah. I would forget to shave. I lacked serious discipline and things that are not typical of a Ranger. And those guys crushed me. There were talks of kicking me out. Like, hey, dude, this is not acceptable. This is not who we are. And,
which things you probably perceived as little at the time, right? For the people listening, how important is it to have that discipline for the small things? Because someone listening can go, you made it to Ranger School. You're one of them. And they're about to kick you out because you forgot to shave, because you're 2 minutes late. How important is it to have that and build that discipline on the small things?
Yeah.
So it translates to the big things.
How you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you can't get that little thing right, how can we trust you with the heavy stuff? You're going to cut corners on that too. But they wouldn't just, it wasn't like be there on time. It was, you had to be 10 minutes early. And then my squad leader would say, like, you need to be 10 minutes early to the 10 minutes early, which it gets a little wacky and silly after that.
What is the saying? You're on time if you're early.
Yeah.
You're late if you're on time.
Exactly.
I'm a big 15-minute guy. I think it's a sweet spot. Big 15-minute, no matter where I go.
15's good.
15's good.
But it gets dangerous when, your chief, your commander's like, all right, we're gonna meet here at 6. And so the next, the captain, next guy down is like, all right, we need to be 10 minutes early, guys, so nobody's late. And then so then he hands it down to like, the sergeants, and it's like, hey guys, we need to be 10 minutes. And so it's just dangerous.
And the squad leader's like, well, we're going to be 10 minutes before that.
We're going to be 10 minutes prior to the 10 minutes prior.
Well, I think that explains the hurry up and wait culture of the military.
It has to be.
That is exactly it. I think we just cracked it.
We did.
It's like, I don't want to look stupid for him.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make sure I got my shit tightened up.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, I don't want to look stupid, so I'm going to make sure I got my shit tightened up.
Yeah.
So, like, it just rolls. Next thing you know, you're there 12 hours before formation waiting.
Brutal.
And you're just like, where's everyone at?
Yeah.
They're sleeping.
You didn't have to be
Yeah,
there.
you didn't have to be there.
Why'd you guys get here so early? It's like what the commander would say.
That's a test. We're on time.
Right. Yeah.
6 total deployments. What is the most brutal, honest leadership lesson you learned in the sandbox that maybe someone who wasn't in the military, or maybe they don't have as many deployments, like, we can pull a lot of lessons from the military and individuals such as yourself. Look at the Jocko books. Look at all the SEALs with classes and all the Green Berets with different equipment and So what was your biggest lesson you feel, especially in leadership, that you pulled while being in the sandbox?
I gleaned a lot of leadership from one deployment in particular. I had a platoon sergeant by the name of Jared Van Alist. Jared ended up, he died in a later deployment. He ended up going out for Delta Force. He was a Delta Force operator. He was shot on target. But he was my platoon sergeant, not once, but twice, which is really cool. When I was in the line, I was a brand new leader. And for my 3rd deployment, he was my platoon sergeant there. He actually was also part of my inspiration to go in to be a sniper. He left the platoon, and he came to be my platoon sergeant in the snipers, which was really cool. But that deployment, he was a very good mentor to me. He was the first leader I had who kind of cared a little more as like me for like a human being. And, maybe I had passed the point of developing professionally and, had my shit together. So he could invest in me as a person. The very first mission on that deployment, I had in the lead vehicle, I was the lead vehicle TC. I was in charge of routes and getting us on target. And so, I'm a leader. I'm a team leader, and I'm in charge of the vehicle that's in front. I've got the platoon leader in that vehicle. He's got a lead. There's a squad that's in that vehicle. So I've got a squad leader. I've also got 2 team leaders in that squad in that vehicle with me. Bunch of chiefs in that vehicle. And so this is it. This is my big moment. I'm gonna get us to target, and it was a daylight mission too, which is unusual. That deployment, we did a lot of daylight raids. But we did daylight mission. And so we did our reconnaissance as a team. And we're like, all right, we're going to take this route in, and we're just going to drive right up to the exfil the assault force, hit the target. And we're driving up to it, and I'm looking around, and if you've ever felt this feeling, you look on a GRG or on a map of the target area, and then you look out in real life, and you're like, oh my God, this is completely different. Like, where am I? And we were driving along a road, and there was a hill. You couldn't see the elevation because it was such a sharp like elevation. This target was up on the hill, and we were on like a lower road. And so like we're there, like gigs up. They know we're there,
but you're not.
Everybody in the back is yelling. Everybody in the back is like, go this way, go that way. I got people yelling at me, do different stuff, and I'm the one on the map. I'm the one who has the best vantage point. And finally, I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, I got to figure this out. And we did a U-turn, and we drove up a thing, got there, and it was all okay. Pressure wasn't that bad.
No one's us there. I got us there.
No one's getting shot at this point. And I think VA was in the vehicle with us on that one. That makes he had to be. Anyway, I was telling him to shut the fuck up, and he pulls me out of the vehicle after the target. He's like, "Hey man, come over here." And I'm like, "Oh no."
You get his head down. You're like, I know where this is going.
And he's like, hey, dude, good job taking charge there. He's like, we had a bunch of chiefs in there. We need somebody who's in charge to step up, take charge. And he's like, we got there and everything was good. that shit happens, man. With that said, if you ever say that to me again, I'll fucking kill you.
Wilco.
Yeah.
I understand.
And like, you know, it just reinforced like, hey, when in charge, take charge. Like, go ahead and take ownership of the decision. You know, this is your piece of the pie. And if you need a second to figure it out, then figure it out. You know, a little high pressure test there. I think I did okay. But it was nice to get that reinforcement from VA. Like, hey, man, when in charge, take charge.
It's someone you looked up to and given the shut the fuck up moment. But like, that was you kind of, as the kids say now, you stood on business. That's what the kids say now, standing on business. But there's so many lessons to take from, especially regarding leadership, which we'll segment into a little later with sharp performance, right? Because I feel like that's a big leadership, mentorship, life thing that you guys are doing there. And a lot of you are veterans, and you're applying this to law enforcement and first responders and other veterans and whoever else I don't know who else you guys are targeting with this, but that's what I'm trying to like. How important, I've always said every male should do 2 years in the military. Yeah. Mandatory. I don't know if other people agree with that. I'll probably get some hate for that, but just I learned so much about myself, and I didn't do anything crazy. Like, I was in the Guard. I'm being very clear. Yeah. Like, but you know, my mindset before going to basic was I'll be, you know, inner city kid, troubled, humble beginnings.
Pittsburgh?
Erie.
Okay.
My mindset was I'll be damned if somebody yells at me.
Oh.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Came out a reformed boy. I'll say a reformed young man.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. Amen to that. But that was my mindset. I didn't know any better. Yeah. You know, and you hear about it and you kind of see movies and you're like, man, this dude's like letting this guy just rip him one. Or like you see videos now, and if you're not a part of that, or you haven't been affiliated, you don't really understand. But I was watching this one video where this guy's in a firing lane and one of his leaders comes up and just fucking like berates him. Yeah. And he's just like, hi, Sergeant, hi, Sergeant. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, oh man, he just like, that kid will never repeat that mistake. Yeah. And that's what I'm thinking.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I forgot who was with me. And they're like, damn, why is he so disrespectful to him? Like, you're supposed to be a team. I'm like, this dude loves this man. Yeah. I said, you don't think you understand. Like, this dude loves this dude. He just saved him. Yeah. So like, you're reading the comments and like, man, that's a real leader right there. And like, we're trying to have this conversation. Like, it's hard to explain, but I don't even know how I got into that. See, there goes that ADHD brain and lack of sleep. Oh, a lot of lessons to learn in the military. Yeah. But so you're doing good things in the military. You're what a lot of people would say is you're at the top of the top, right? Ranger, sniper.
From the outside looking in.
You're doing the thing. What led you to transition from that life?
I was burned out, man. That pace of deployment and training schedule was intense. From the beginning, from an 18-year-old boy, this is a shock working that hard. I'd never worked that hard in my life. To having, leaders and peers around me who constantly challenged and pushed me. God, I needed that. I needed it so bad. I needed, the leaders that I had to push me and challenge me, try to get me to quit. That changed me. And I thank God every day that those guys were assholes. I thank God every day that they were as hard on me as they were, because it changed me and it gave me this foundation like for who I am today. And, I'll be super thankful. Into the deployments, I was always kind of like a right place, right time type of guy. But there's this burnout that happens where you are tired, just run ragged. And there's dudes that kept up this deployment cycle for much longer than I did. And, I went on later on to be a contractor where, I did protective security and deployed way more than I did in Ranger Battalion. but it's different. Each deployment is kinetic, and it's life or death is on the line on those deployments. I was burned out, man. I was tired.
Which one was different? Which one was more kinetic? The
Ranger deployments.
The Ranger deployments,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, for the protective security deployments, those are, we're avoiding conflict. If there's any inkling that there's going to be danger or whatever, we'll just cancel it. Yeah.
Hey, that's good.
Yeah.
Especially the older you get. Less
Yeah.
conflict you want to be in.
Yeah.
So there's you same but different. And so you went from military to contractor, or you tried something different after the military? How'd that work?
Yeah, I decided to get out, looked around, and, always knew I wanted to go to college. And my dad actually gave me the push. He was like, if you're going to go to college, nearby there, look at, I went to Chattahoochee Valley Community College, and I tried out for their baseball team. It's something I always brought a glove on deployments with me, so my arm was fresh. And, and I didn't know this at the time, but Chat Valley was a perennial national ranked junior college team. If I'd have known that, I probably wouldn't have tried out, because they have their rosters stacked with D1 prospects and draft picks. But I tried out, and thank God that I did. I met my best friends there, and coach saw something in me. He was like, "Hey, here's a guy who's a leader. Here's a guy who's physically developed. He has obviously good fundamentals for the game. I'm gonna take a chance on him." And that's what he told me. He's like, "Alex, I'll take a chance on you." He's like, "You don't have a spot. You're continually trying out. You need to know that. And the guys that I have on this team are very good. They're the guys that didn't have good enough grades to go to Alabama and Auburn. So that's who you're going to be competing with."
Talk about irony, right? Or being put in places to prepare, right? Like you go from a team who, hey, these are the best of the best in what we're doing. You're going to have to earn your spot every day. You're going to work your ass off.
Yeah.
At any moment, this cannot be yours. And then you go into a similar situation with the junior baseball team where it's like, hey, these are the best of the best of what we got. This isn't you have to earn a spot.
Bro,
how was that contrast?
I thrived because what you're describing is exactly how it was. I had no business being there. I had a couple things going for me. I was, had some maturity, I had some life experience. But yeah, I showed up with nothing to lose. These guys showing up, this was everything for them. They had a lot to lose. But I went out there and gave it my best, and I could hang and quickly, made the team. I was part of the guys. One of the best experiences ever. Head coach Adam Thomas, Dash O'Neill, assistant coach. These two dudes are masters of what they do, coaching college baseball. Dash O'Neill ended up leaving Chat Valley a couple years back, and he's started a new college program, Georgia Highlands, I think. And surprise, their perennial championship team, paying visits to the Junior College World Series every year. So there's some magic there that I got to be a part of. It was really special.
So again, you're at the top of the top. You're doing it, right? Like you're living someone's dream.
Yeah, you're right.
You're living someone's dream.
Yeah.
You were living their dream while you were in the military. You're living someone's dream while playing junior ball. Like,
man, I was lucky.
And you're like, something needs to give. What is that motivating factor? And I ask this because I feel a lot of people are in positions where they're living in someone's dream.
Wow.
And in their mind, they're not doing enough, or they don't feel called to do what they're doing, or something needs to change, whether their family dynamics change, or, they feel burnt out.
Yeah.
But on the outside, man, you have the job, or you have the title, or you have the role, you have the whatever it may be. You're living my dream. Yeah. Why would you want to give that up? What is your response to that? Because you've transitioned for what's best for you multiple times. So what's going on through your mind? You leave someone's dream for the baseball team, and then now you're transitioning again. What was that motivating factor?
In the moment, in the moment, like I said, there's this theme that like I didn't plan any of this out, and life is nonlinear, and everyone's development and journey is nonlinear, and it looks different for everybody. But I don't know. In the moment, you've got your head down like this, and you're just doing the best you can, and you've got new challenges. But I was living the dream, and I think there were times where I didn't realize it. There's a book. It was one of my favorite books. It's a children's book, actually. It's the Chronicles of Narnia. The second or third book in the series, I think, is called The Horse and His Boy. And I really like this scene. I'm so familiar with it because I've read it to my children a few times now. But there's this scene where Shasta, the little boy who's the protagonist of the story, he's riding on his horse, and he takes a second to like come up for air, and he says, in retrospect, that I was, running for my life, and I was under such stress that I couldn't even enjoy, the mountains and the beauty like all around me and the joy of this adventure I was on. Only in retrospect is it as good as it was. And so I found that in every aspect of my life, like in Afghanistan. Afghanistan's beautiful. You'll see pictures of these cities and it looks god awful. The term shithole gets thrown around a lot, but Afghanistan's beautiful. Once you get away from the cities, oh my God, it's gorgeous. My time in junior college baseball was just, incredible. It was a dream come true. I don't know. It's a good question. And I don't know.
Looking back, now that you're on the other side and you can see kind of the highlight reel of your life, what would you say was actually motivating you at that time, if anything? Because there's a lot of people, and I call it in the mix, right? Like, look at any artist, any musician, any athlete. They're in a point where they're just struggling. They're training. They're doing these long hours, and they're not seeing the benefits or reaping the benefits. And then they hit this breaking point, especially with musicians. You say, and then overnight success. And everyone is like, who's this guy? Never heard of him.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, I've been doing this for 15 years. And finally, it's like, when you look back, sleeping. I was telling a kid, he was like locked out of a studio, trying to get in, couldn't get into studio. So he would like hang out outside until the studio open. So I'm like, you're going through these moments and you're like, man, is it worth it? Should I keep doing it? Should I find something else? But when you make it, you look back and you're so grateful that you did sleep on outside the studio, that you did struggle there because that taught you this, which then connected you with this guy, which then got you to here. So when we look back after we make it, whatever that is for you, you're not saying, I wish that didn't happen. You have a new profound gratefulness for you. Like I'm man, it sucked at that time because I didn't see or I didn't understand. Yeah. But I'm so grateful that happened. Yeah. Right? You lose a job and then you get a job that pays you more and you enjoy it and the leaders are good. Yeah. You're not going, man, I love where I'm at. I wish that didn't happen though. You're like, I'm glad that happened because now I'm here. Mm-hmm. So being able to look back, how does that look like for you leaving or changing, and then you decide to go study, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be an electrical engineer. That was
you and me both. That's what I went to school for.
Oh, did you really?
Very quickly changed to business.
Oh God, you and me both. Yeah, we have that in common. So that was my major. I decided I was an airborne ranger. I do hard things, and what's one of the hardest things? Higher paying outcome that you can get from college. I'm going to be an electrical engineer major, and play college baseball, and hold a job down because I don't have mom and dad paying for college. It's me. I've got a house and all these bills, but it was very difficult. But it's do you golf?
I try.
You roll, right?
I roll.
Yeah. So I know you've reached this point, like this thing that people chase, and when you get into it, it's like magic. Time constricts and flows. We call it flow state.
Oh yeah.
When you get into flow state.
Everything just aligns.
And when you feel it when you're an entrepreneur, when you're doing all the right things and you want to do this and you're staying up at night thinking about, God, how can I make this better? Like, oh, I got these ideas and these ideas are flowing to you. Same thing with baseball. Like, you finally get it and you don't think about throwing the ball and hitting a target. You just grip it and rip it. And all your work has led up to this, and it's this flow state. It's something that you chase, and it's something I experienced there. And I wasn't introduced to this idea until much later in life, but I know the feeling. I recognize it when it happens now, and that's what you chase. I could catch flow state in baseball. I was really forcing it as an EE major at my time in college.
Does one ever reach flow state in electrical engineering?
I think they do.
And
I'll tell you why. Those people who make it, they're meant to make it because they can achieve flow state in something like electrical engineering. I had a peer. So fast forwarding, I ended up going to Auburn for electrical engineering. Wasn't good enough to play baseball there. Left Auburn after I got an internship at NSA for electrical engineering. And the people that I met, my other peers who were also new electrical engineers at NSA, those people, we'd all be given a task, and they would be able to just knock out their tasks. I would have to research and figure it out and get stuff wrong and then tune it up, and it wasn't for me. Those dudes were reaching flow state and knocking out problems and doing the engineer thing.
So for you kind of didn't see the benefit personally to push through that barrier and hopefully achieve flow state.
Right.
It was I know where I'm at, and this isn't for me.
It's okay to fail and stuff, and failure is the best teacher.
I was gonna say, because I do that myself, right? I'll take on projects, right? Especially with the podcast, I have so many ideas. I also have 1,000 other things I'm doing, but
yeah.
I feel like I reach my best flow state with this podcast and what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to build. And dude, being able to talk to people like you who share their story and then getting the feedback from, some 18-year-old kid whose biggest mountain right now is leaving home and going to college for the first time.
Yeah.
And he hears your story and he's like, man, in listening to this story, I made the decision not to play it safe and stay home, but I'm going to go to that college I've always wanted to go to that I got accepted to. So that, to me, is so motivating.
Yeah.
Right? Motivation is external. Now I have the internal. How do I build this and grow this? It's hard, right? I'll sit in front of a graphic and I'm I can't, or a video or a reel, something simple that other people can pump out 50 of these in a sitting. And for me, I'm man, I can't get this right. I can't. And then the other day, Calendly popped up. And this is how flow state worked for me recently. Calendly popped up. Do you know what that is? It's a it's a scheduling app. I was wow, I spend a lot of time going back and forth with people to get them on, and they don't have an availability. I don't have an availability. That spends a lot of time that I could be allocating somewhere else. This would help me a lot. So I started Calendly, and then with the Calendly, I'm oh, here's the openings, and then from there, I'm I should add this to my intake form, and then on my intake form, I'm actually, I need to refine these questions. In an hour, I got more done than I normally would do in days or a week, and then by the end of it, I'm I just automated this entire thing.
Yeah, and it wasn't work.
I was I'm greedy. People are talking to me. I'm completely ignoring them. Not ignoring, but I'm just in such this. It's happening. I'm not even thinking. I'm oh, let me refine this. Oh, and it's going. Next thing you know, I sit back. I'm wow, this is all. I just automated my entire onboarding process.
Yeah, that's sick.
This is wild, right? And this is a small example, but when you find something you enjoy doing, and you approach it very intentionally, you learn, you grow, all that comes together, and then you're doing the work, and then you achieve this flow state.
Yeah.
So it's a very beautiful thing. So that, just helped me with all this stuff. And I don't know if you I sent you just the regular intake form. So this just happened. That's how recent this was. By the time you filled this form out, I changed it all completely.
Well done.
But
good job, man. Yeah, that's awesome.
But the flow state, the when you find this passion, so I don't even know how I got here, but essentially people hearing the stories of the guests coming on and then, pushing and motivating and inspiring someone listening to go, you know what? I need, this has inspired me to do this or do that or do that. Being able to look back, oh, that's what it is. So in that moment, they're probably like, man, is this worth it? Is it hard? Like, I don't know if I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
You having the ability to look back and go, you transitioned so many times and it worked out well for you.
Yeah.
Whether you quote unquote failed and learned and adapted, improvised and overcame, or you succeeded in whatever you were doing. Like, what do you tell the listener who's not achieving flow state and they're in that part of like, do I keep pushing? Like, is this for me, or is this a time where I need to pivot and try something new?
Wow. It's, I did all this out of necessity, out of singular motivation, like thinking, like I said, all these transitions were pretty short-lived. It wasn't this long plan that I was following, but I know that if you don't have a family, I can speak from the standpoint of being a man because we're men. If you don't have a family, you don't have kids, you owe it to yourself to really take risks. The beginning part of your life, you must take risks and you must do things and fail. You have to. You have to fail at some stuff because failure, like I said before, is the best teacher in life. You can iterate off of that if you choose to keep doing whatever it is that you want to do. But for the young listener out there listening, please, you must take risks and you must fail at things. You have to do it. I wish I had known about entrepreneurship at an earlier age. I've tried my hand at it a couple times now, and without things to tie me down, like real responsibilities in life, like being a father and having a home, it's so much easier to fail and to go much bigger on your ambitions. That's definitely one thing I can contribute here to that. Any input there? You're an entrepreneur. What are you dabbling in, by the way?
You ready? So I do, obviously, the podcast.
Yeah.
From the podcast, I went to college for marketing and advertising.
Yeah.
I love marketing, not sales, but marketing. Getting someone's ideas and their vision and implementing it into a way that can be digested by the masses, whoever your target market is. I always found that fascinating.
Yeah.
And then, my first marketing class was like, sell me this pen that, everyone has heard that story, that my instructor did that, my professor did that. And I'm like, my first question was like, do you need a pen? Because my thing is like, I'm not going to sell you something you don't need. That's not what I'm here for.
Yeah.
I've always been a relationship-based person, very intentional with relationships. So I'm like, do you need a pen? He's like, well, sell it to me. I'm like, well, if you don't, and like we got into this little back and forth, and I'm like, I'm not going to sell you something you don't need.
Oh, there's nothing worse than that.
And then he's like, well, sell it to me. I'm like, I don't want to sell it to you now. And guess what? I don't have to. And he was just like so like blown away by this. He's like, just goes to the next person.
Kind of sounded like he wanted the pen.
Yeah. So I'm like, and then he gives us a lesson, but so that I was very intrigued with what marketing actually meant. And I learned, and then I had Professor Andalib. He was from somewhere Middle East, but like his approach to marketing, when he would talk about it, his lights lit up. Oh, his eyes lit up. Dude
was in flow state.
Yes, he wasn't. When it came to actual marketing and branding and connecting with people, and I was like, I knew this is what I was looking for. Yeah. So I go to college for marketing, and then I become a cop, and I love being a cop. Yeah. Because of the relationship stuff. I've always had this calling in me to help people, right? And so it fulfilled that, but I'm like, there's something more. So I started branching out. I do real estate now.
How long have you been doing real estate for?
4 years, 3 years.
Yeah.
So I don't cold call, right?
Yeah.
In all the real estate classes, they're like, oh, talk to your sphere, reach out to everyone, tell them you're in real estate. That's how you get it. I'm like, man, there's a lot of successful people doing that.
Yeah, it's a way. Technique.
I can't do that because I have never purchased a house because someone called me and said, are you looking for a house? Yeah. So I approach that differently. And in that I've built amazing relationships. And then I'm like, I'm doing that. I'm doing the podcast. I'm like, I'm talking to fighters and business owners. And I'm like, man, like you don't have a marketing team. I love doing that. let me give you a gift and work on some branding for you.
Cool.
Let me make a logo for you. Let me show you what the part you're missing.
Cool.
So in doing this, I started a media company.
Yeah, man.
And it's just, being a father, being, having a family, and then everything. But everything I approach with the same way.
Yeah.
To push, inspire, motivate people to build a discipline to take control of their lives.
Bingo.
Like that is literally my motto for everything, whether it's being a cop, whether it's being a husband, a father, a friend, a brother, a son, a client, or whatever. Like that's my goal for everything.
So when you ask somebody, like, who are you? You're like, I am who I am. And you say something like, well, I'm a cop. No. But like, who are you? I think this is an exercise from, you ever seen that movie Anger Management?
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's a scene from that. Like, no, I know you're a cop, but like, who are you? And you get down to the essence of who you are. And what you're describing right now is who you are.
You ask people this and they reply with what they do.
Right.
Who are you? I'm a cop.
Yeah.
Okay. You lose your job. Who are you?
Yeah, who are you?
Well, I do real estate on the side. Okay. The market is shit. Who are you?
Yeah.
Like who are you in the sense, and this is a question I'm asking you listening today. Who are you? Mm-hmm. What are your values? When you take away the role of husband, wife, father, son, daughter, who are you?
Yeah.
What are your goals? What are your motivations? What do you aim to do in the world that you attack in your career, that you attack in your relationships? Like, who are you?
Not to dive too deep here.
I want to dive deep because what you guys are doing at Sharp, I feel ties in with what I'm trying to do with the podcast. So
it is. And what you're saying here is like stripping me down because I associate who I am a lot with my identity of being a father, because right now that's who I am in this life. And I'm going to have to reckon with the fact that these kids are moving out at some point. And now you're not that anymore. Who are you?
You're not that type of father.
I am so dependent on, we're going to get to this. I'm so dependent on being a dad that like, it scares the shit out of me thinking that like these kids are going to leave me one day, So, I'm still building who I am.
And which is fascinating because a lot of us struggle in our 20s figuring out who we are.
Yeah.
And here you are living 5 different lives, from military, contracting, your sports career. You've lived the lives and you're still figuring out who you are. And that's okay.
Yeah.
So long as you're doing it.
Right. The more I get along, I've got a greater sense of who I am. But every day I'm chipping away at it like it's a statue, and I'm refining what this is becoming. And it can change.
Absolutely. I always tell people, we're here we're all doing this for the first time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're a father to a 1-year-old for the first time. You're a father to 2 children for the first time.
Yeah.
You become a husband, a wife for the first time. You're growing as a father and a husband for the first time.
Right.
Like everything we're doing is for the first time.
Yeah.
So like give yourself some grace when you don't have it figured out. So long as you're chipping away at the statue, if you stare at the statue and you've envisioned what you want it to be, but you don't pick up the pick to start shaping it, that's where there's a problem. That's where a lot of our identity crisis happens. So long as every day even if it's one strike at a time, so long as you're doing that proactive, intentional movement into shaping who you are or trying to figure it out. Maybe you don't have to figure it out, but you're taking those steps. That is where I think we find fulfillment and we find purpose. But when you don't do that, because you're so frustrated that the statues, like this block of marble isn't a Roman warrior.
Yeah.
It's like, well, did you take the pick to it? Did you take the axe to it? Did you make the steps to start?
Keep working.
A lot of us never start. And that goes into entrepreneurship. Well, I'm not ready. I don't have the money. Or it's like, this guy, the next guy has failed 1,000 times before you even thought about getting started.
Yeah.
How can you be upset?
Do you have any doors yet?
Do you have any doors?
Yeah, real estate.
What do you mean?
Real estate. Do you have some properties?
I have one property.
You do?
But I'm an agent.
Oh, okay.
So I help people buy and sell, but I got into it because I want to invest.
Yeah.
So I have my first home. I'm actually prepping it right now.
Cool.
For the rental market. So
yeah, man.
If you know me personally, follow my pages. I'm about to be putting it up for listing. Man. But one house, and I'm trying to approach it the right way. I want, last thing I wanted to be a slumlord.
So I've invested in my financial education for real estate. I read all the Brandon Turner books. Started with Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. I think he's a big real estate guy, right? So this is an adventure I want to go down. So you and me we got to stay linked up.
Oh, you got my number, brother.
Yeah,
you have direct access now.
Yeah. And that cold calling thing, man. After working at Rippling, I was what we call an SDR, sales development rep. Man, that's all I did for 2 years. It was just cold calling people, getting treated like an insect.
And it works for some.
Yeah, it's a skill. It's a skill.
Who's the car salesman who now has a huge training company? I forget his name.
Yes,
we've all seen him.
Yeah, Jack Dude.
Yeah, Jack Dude, bald.
Yeah.
He calls the dealerships and basically like puts them in their place.
Yeah.
But it works for him.
Right.
You can't say it doesn't.
Right.
But if it doesn't work for you, find a method that does.
So are you doing wholesaling? Is that kind of like what you're doing?
No. So I have wholesalers that I'm in relationship with, and I'll just push them to that because you obviously do that a lot better than me. Yeah. But what the benefit of that comes, they'll also refer people to me.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, wholesaling isn't what you're looking for. Like you're looking for this. I know a guy.
Yeah.
So like, don't be afraid to build relationships and not think like, oh, this is a real estate client. Don't feel like you need to meet every one of their needs. Niche down. Become an expert in whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah.
Whether you're luxury homes or for starter homes, whatever it is, niche down.
Yeah.
Own that space. And then build those relationships. And then guess what? If your team grows, then you can grow in. Now we offer wholesaling. We offer luxury homes. We offer starter homes. We offer, don't feel like you have to have it all figured out or do everything.
Right.
Do one thing right.
Yeah.
And then build on that. So I don't do wholesaling, but I know people who do it very well.
Yeah.
And like I just had a client with my partner. He's asking us for advice on his home. He's like, do I list it? Do I fix it up? Do I get rid of it? And it ended up he was interested in wholesaling. Yeah. Which means we don't make money.
Right.
But I'd rather have you as a long relationship, a long friend, a long client, because you're investing in properties.
Something's going to come along.
Yeah, something's going to come along. And if it doesn't, that's fine. I took care of you.
Yeah.
You wanted wholesaling. I connected you with someone who wholesales.
Yeah.
And it works out for you.
Yeah.
Maybe next time someone's looking and you're like, oh, I know a guy. These guys really took care of me. They go to them. Mm-hmm. Maybe I don't have him as a client, but he refers someone. Yeah. That's how it's always worked for me in anything, in the media, in the marketing, especially in the podcast. You know how many podcasts I'm connected with now?
Yeah.
I'm literally in a podcast group.
Dang, all right.
Shout out Big Dan.
Yeah.
He put together like 30, 40 podcasters from all over the country.
Really?
And we share ideas, we share our videos. People comment on there like, hey, this was a great point, great work on this on your video. Everyone's like liking each other's stuff and commenting on each other's stuff. So like you're creating this network. Mm-hmm. It's very easy to fall into the, I'm a podcaster. Why am I going to affiliate with another podcaster?
Yeah.
Dude, you don't have to compete.
Right.
They're like, I'm an hour, 2 hours max of someone's day.
Yeah.
They have a lot of days in their lives.
Right.
I don't need to compete with I'd rather network with you.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Because at the top, everyone's networking. They're not competing. You think Amazon's competing with, or you think Facebook is really competing with X?
Right.
No. Facebook's like, hey, we're going to keep this space. X, you keep that space. I just want to take a second to shout out a few companies who've believed in me. These were one of our first official sponsors, so huge shout out. Today's episode is proudly sponsored by Cabral Jewelers, established in 1997 on the values of honesty and integrity. Whether you're searching for the perfect piece, need expert repair services, visit Cabral Jewelers in Newark's Ironbound District, where your jewelry is always in safe hands. This episode is also brought to you by Continental Jewelers, proudly serving Hudson County, New Jersey since 1964. Whether you're seeking a timeless piece or need expert repairs, they've got you covered. Visit Continental Jewelers, your trusted source for all things jewelry. You can find them on Instagram at Cabral Jewelers or online at CabralJewelers.com. Lastly, big shout out to Carbo Trading. Besides coins, precious metals, and jewelry, if it could be traded and collected, he's probably got it. They can be found on Instagram at carbo.trading. You can find all of our sponsors out online on our sponsor page at therelentlessproject.com.
Once you start realizing that the more value you provide, the more successful you become. When you put your elbows out and like kind of reserve your little space, that's all you're going to get.
Because what's going to happen when you start trying to take space?
Yeah.
The next guy's going to try and take it back.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want that.
Where if you give space, you know what the next guy's going to probably do? Give you space.
He's going to help you out.
He's going to help you out.
Yeah, man. I've learned that over time. The more value you provide, whether it's entrepreneurship, being in the military, college, baseball, whatever, there's no secrets. The knowledge of the universe is out there. The more value you can provide and share and make those around you better, and the better your group is, the better you're going to become.
Absolutely. And being involved in your roles in the military and contracting, you see a lot of the ugly in the world. Mm-hmm. But you sit here today helping people, motivating people, pushing people to be better versions of themselves. How did you prevent yourself from getting completely cynical of the world and then being able to show up and help others kind of see the beauty in the world when you've seen the ugly of the world?
This is something I think the older you get, the more you become. Until recently, where I started getting cynical about stuff. Throughout my experience in the military, not a much cynicism at all. Baseball, college, I didn't face any of that. I never got bit by that bug until probably just recently. And you'll have to get me for podcast number 2 if we want to do that. That's, a whole nother thing, but like,
seat's always open.
Yeah. Thank you. But, I don't know. I'm not a real cynical guy.
I can tell.
Yeah.
But it's easy. Like if you were, no one could blame you.
Right.
How many vets do we see? How many first responders do we see? Me being a cop. How many cops do we see that just like, and like, I kind of understand. I don't agree because I don't approach it that way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've done the steps to not approach it that way. So I feel like most people can. And there's, clinical stuff that people are dealing with that maybe they can or they need extra help. But like, I see it and I'm like, how can you not see the beauty? Like, I get it. The world can be ugly, but there's so many beautiful people in the world doing great things. Like, how can you not focus on the beautiful stuff of the world?
Yeah. That's my thing, man. I've always just been relentlessly positive. I'm wired like that. I'm blessed to be wired like that. And honestly, it's my biggest asset, and sometimes it's like my biggest my biggest flaw too. Just relentlessly positive, obnoxiously positive.
Oh, I annoy people. They're like, "How are you not angry?" And I'm like, "I don't know, dude. Like, I grew up I couldn't rub 2 nickels together. I have a 3-story townhouse now with a beautiful family and like a great career. Like, I can't be mad.
Yeah,
this sucks. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pick this for me.
Yeah,
but like, all things considered, I should have been dead at 18.
Wow,
I'm doing all right.
Wow.
Like, I'm doing all right.
Yeah, you are, brother.
And people like look at me like, how are you not mad? I'm mad for you. I'm like, I'm sorry to hear that. Especially with the work we do, it's like, it's easy to fall into that. Like, I'm upset. You should be upset.
Yeah,
I'm not though.
I see that, for you cops out there, man, who I feel like a lot of you guys meet people on their worst day all the time. You constantly have people trying to deceive you, and that's tough. That is tough. I didn't get that in the military. You're surrounded by dudes that are like you, kicking doors and doing your thing. So I didn't get that. I don't know.
Well, it's good.
Yeah.
What advice do you have? Being involved now, you talk to a lot of first responders and a lot of veterans. What advice do you have to those who maybe are viewing the world that way? And you don't, but like, you've been connected with enough people to hopefully try to get people through that. Like, what advice do you have for people who...
Some people are wired like that. Cynical, negative. And, the answer to that, and, there's somebody's listening to this who's going to be like, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But practicing gratitude, you know, you telling me if you wake up early in the morning and, you know, clear your head out and list all the things that are good for you and you're grateful for, that, you know, you're not going to trick your brain and be like, oh yeah, I guess I do have it pretty good. You know, I got a roof over my head. Things are going well. I got a job. There are people who love me. Lots of them. Most of us do have that. Life's going pretty damn good. And if you wake up every day and tell yourself and remind you of those things, it will rewire your brain to be extremely, extremely thankful and, you know, gracious of that. And you'll start seeing the good things in life. You won't be so cynical.
I saw an exercise where it's like in the beginning of the week, think of 3 words that you want people to describe you as this week.
Oh.
So, you know, relentless, loving, compassionate.
Mm-hmm.
Those are my 3 words.
Cool.
And tell yourself every day, am I living up to those 3 words?
Wow. Yeah.
Right? Like you're focusing on that.
Mm-hmm.
So when someone comes to you and then they disrespect you or something, pause. Hey, is my approach that I have in my mind right now, is it compassionate?
Mm-hmm.
Is it relentless? No. Let me structure this in a way that it is.
Yeah.
Like you start rewiring yourself. And I always tell people, whether you believe it is or you believe it isn't, whatever that is, it's true.
Yeah.
Because you believe it.
That's right. That's exactly right. That is a fact.
Like, why not focus on the good? If the world's on fire,
You can
focus
choose
on
it.
choose the good.
You can choose it. Absolutely. This is something my father, you know, gave to me. It was like, you know, visualization and gratitude. My father used to tell me that stuff. And he said his father showed him these techniques, that there's real science in telling yourself the good stuff and reminding yourself of the good things and visualizing that thing that you want to happen. That's not woo-woo stuff. That's real. There's real science behind this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we see the Instagram posts, we see the motivational speakers. They all talk about this, and we skip past it.
Yeah.
And it's cheesy and it's corny, but if you apply that, truly apply it,
Mm-hmm.
you'd be surprised at how much it may work.
100%.
Like, and that's I guess that's the way I approach things, and people look at me like it's kind of annoying and I'm like, I'm not sorry,
Yeah.
but like try it.
Yeah.
And like, it's dumb. I'm like, well, if you're not even willing to try it, I don't know what to tell you.
My very best friend, one of my very best friends, TJ White from Whoopie Hoodie. In fact, I'd love to connect you with him. You would really like this guy. I came to him with something the other day about how I had known something my entire life, but I didn't understand it. And then now I'd enter that phase of like getting it. And he's like, you know, when you're ready, you're ready. And those people, when they're ready, they'll see it. And you know, you can't. Sometimes you can't bring it to them early. They've got to get to a point in life where they're open to it, and they'll be ready for it.
Yeah, the light bulb goes off.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, flow state.
Yeah, gratefulness.
Gratefulness.
Gratitude. Yeah,
I tell yourself, like they tell you, look in the mirror, say 3 things you're grateful for today.
yeah,
Instead of waking up and going, I'm fucking tired, I don't want to do this, go, hey, I get to wake up. I get to go to the gym.
yeah,
I can afford a gym membership. A lot of people who can't.
yeah,
I can drive to the gym. There's people who have to bike.
yeah,
Like, those are wins, small wins. Focus on the small wins.
yeah,
You don't have the $1 million house. You don't have the $1 million car. You don't have, but you have a house.
mm-hmm.
You have a car,
yeah,
and you can pay for a gym membership. Oh, and then you have food at home after you come back from the gym.
yeah.
Great. Those are wins.
A lot to be grateful for.
There's a lot of people
There
who don't
is.
have that.
We can count them. Most of us can sit around and count them.
For sure.
Yeah,
You talk about the pride. Like I could see the pride you have in being a father and this role that you're in. And you've done the craziest things of life, and now you've built an amazing life in the sense of beautiful family. You have a compound, 25 horses. Am I correct?
they're not my horses. So
Still.
we've got 20. I think it's more. We just set up more fencing to bring on more horses, but it's my sister-in-law's operation. And every now and then I find myself mucking stalls and mending fences, and But
it's Esquire? What's the horse?
equestrian.
Equestrian.
Yeah.
Like how? Like is that what the horses are for, or are they just?
This is like horse hotel. So like a horse is. There's a lot going on with a horse. most people don't have the facilities like a little barn or a turnout, a paddock. So they take them to places like what we have. We got a big, nice farm. So we've got barns, and we'll host your horse, and you come to our farm to visit your horse, ride. We got trails and everything, and so we're like a horse boarding facility. Yeah.
Which is so cool, because in my department, one of the mental health programs they enacted is you get to go hang out with horses all day.
Yeah.
And typical cops, like, this is so dumb. Why am I going to do it? Like, this is mental health. Give me a day off. Give me more money. Like,
Right.
that'll fix my mental health.
Of course.
So, like, they made it mandatory. You come in for 6 or 8 hours, you get paid for a 12-hour day.
I love that.
And you're like,
Yeah.
so typical cops.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting a bang for my buck. I'll go do it.
That's the deal.
Everyone left surprised.
Okay, good.
And like, I always approach things with an open mind.
Yeah.
I grew up around horses, so I'm like, oh, that'd be cool. Like, I haven't been around a horse in a long time. They're beautiful beings. Like,
Yeah.
they're massive. They could tell you a lot about yourself, right? Like, horses will know if you're lying or not. Like, they'll know if you're scared and you're trying to be stoic.
Yeah.
They can see right through it.
Oh,
they
yeah.
won't trust you.
Yeah.
So like, being able to, something as simple as lead a horse.
Yeah.
Like, are they choosing to follow you?
Horses are super spooky.
Yeah.
And so my sister-in-law Julia, she, like I said, it's her horse operation. She grew up on the farm, but she'll tell you, I'm scared to death of the horses.
They know.
They're these big beasts, and they know.
They know.
Those horses, they know, and their nostrils flaring, and the air coming out of them, and they weigh thousands of pounds. They're massive, and but you're right. There is a connection there. I love when they come up to the fence. They got their hot nose. They put their nose up against you. It's
You're
cool.
like, he likes me.
It is cool. Yeah.
Yeah, they're beautiful beings. Like, essentially, you have the new American dream. Like,
Yeah.
everyone dreams about, like, especially nowadays, everyone's leaving the city and they want land and property and chickens and
do.
goats. And like, when you get that, it's almost like a sense of pride. Like, there's
Yeah.
guys at work who they're starting to build their chicken coops, and that's all they talk about all day.
right.
And you're like, it makes you wonder why. Like, why is this? Why are you so passionate about this?
Yeah.
Like, you're a cop, you make good money, you're doing great things for the world, and you're talking about your chickens.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
And there's something to be said about that.
Don't mess with my birds,
Yeah.
man. It's there's something special about it. It is. It's this thing, and I don't know if I coined the phrase. I doubt it. There's hardly any original ideas out there, but I'd like to Google that actually, see if that's like connecting what I'm talking about here. But the new American dream. It used to be 1950s, buy a home in a neighborhood, sidewalks.
Have
and I
a
don't-
pension.
Yeah, that's right. The pension. That's right.
Big.
And it's not that anymore. It's homesteading. It's being self-sufficient, being not reliant on a pension. There's something really beautiful about coming home with your own eggs and milk every day. We got 2 goats. We drink raw milk. We've got about 30 birds. In fact, while I'm here in Pittsburgh, I'm incubating 30 or 21 more chicks. They're in an incubator right now, and so my wife's having to watch the chicks while they incubate.
She's on bird duty.
She's on bird duty, yeah, and my kids are all excited. We got this little incubator, and in a couple of days here, they're gonna be pecking through and hatching little chicks. We've got a brooding coop. It's a whole thing, and it is beautiful. It is awesome.
That is cool. Like, do you sell the eggs? Like, do you give the eggs to your friends and family?
I've thought about
that's
it.
how we do it.
Oh
Like,
my gosh,
guy
yeah.
brings in milk. Another guy
Yes.
brings in eggs, and it's like bartering. We're back to the bartering system.
Yeah, man. Well, if we have a surplus, we share them all on the farm. Everybody gets eggs. I make sure to take some up to everybody who needs them. It's really cool. In fact, we also do a big garden. So my house is filled with seedlings everywhere: tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, and we're gonna put them in the ground. And of course, I made way too many seedlings. We don't have the space for the 72 tomato plants that I have. And there's like a neighborhood brewery across from where I live, and the guy that runs that, his name's Justin Harrison. He runs that. He likes to do a big garden every year, and in fact, I think he wants to start selling it in the brewery, some stuff from the garden.
A little farmer's market at the brewery. Look at that.
Yeah, that's what he's going to do. And he told me, he's like, man, I don't know if I have time for the garden this year. I was like, brother, I got you. I got all the seedlings, man. So I'm going to hopefully drop off the seedlings to Justin here in a couple weeks when they're ready. It's a great community. I'm lucky, man.
That's awesome. That gives you a whole different type of network too, right? Like you have to trust the person who's giving you this, and you have to trust the person who's tending to your garden. And it's like you're essentially the warrior in the garden now. Look at that. Talking about cheesy and corny. The warrior in the garden.
And I love it.
You mentioned being a father is one of the best things you've ever done. How has leading a family forced you to grow in ways that leading Rangers or being a Ranger didn't?
Here we go. I have learned, they say when you go to Ranger school, you learn more about yourself than you ever have. And that is true. I went off on my own, and I went to college. I played baseball, and I learned a lot about myself along the way. Nothing has taught me more about myself than being a father. How many kids you got? 3. Yeah, I got 3 also. What ages?
10, 11, 13.
Okay.
Right. Going on 20.
I know. I'm just before you. I'm in the phase before you. I got 6, 8, and 10. And I always knew that I was going to have a family, but I didn't know that I was supposed to be a dad. And that wasn't clear until I had kids. In fact, my wife's probably going to hate this story, but we got pregnant before we got married. I know.
How dare you?
I'll repent. I got to get my repenting done. But lucky me, I got married to a woman who's amazing. She's badass, dude. She's awesome. And it's like, how lucky am I? Because it could have been bad, right? But she was awesome. She was the best partner I could have ever had. And she's helped me be the father that I'm supposed to become. But being a dad's the best thing I've ever done. I love it. This is going to get into my story about Sharp. How do you learn how to be a father? Well, you had your father before you. I think my father did a pretty damn good job with me. He did the best he could. We're all just doing the best we can. His father, left him at, I think 12 or 10, 13, somewhere in that preteen age. It's like the worst time to leave a boy because he needs his father. Did you have your father?
I have him now.
Good.
I'll say that. But growing up, I realized, we've obviously rekindled and talked, and so like he left because he had to do things, right? Without getting into the weeds,
of course,
because I don't want to disrespect him, but like I understood what he had to do.
Yeah.
So like I grew up without a father figure.
We're all just doing our best,
and we're doing our best. But now, he's come back and he's in my daughter's life, and he's like,
that's amazing.
And I learn a lot from him, right? Like whether you learn about what to do, what not to do, how to approach things, how not to approach things, like you can always learn if you come with the best intention. And seeing his approach now, and seeing his approach with my daughter, it's like, man, I got big shoes to fill.
Yeah,
I got big shoes to fill.
Wow.
There's a lot of forgiving that happens. There's a lot of understanding that needs to occur.
Yeah.
Right. And you can remain bitter, or you can go, hey, I kind of understand why you did what you did.
Yeah.
The kid, youngish, did not.
Yeah.
He was very spiteful, angry. Like, why do they have their dad and I don't? Like, but the older I got, like I appreciate, because I had to learn in certain ways.
Yeah.
And I had my older brother who was my father figure essentially, and I learned a lot of ways not to do things, but also learned a lot of ways to do things because of him. He was always do as I say, not as I do kind of guy.
Oh yeah.
So that taught me a lot of things. But having a father is very important, especially as a young man.
Yeah.
Because it's going to shape you. It's going to shape your relationships. It's going to shape, if you decide to have kids, how you're going to approach your children.
Yeah.
Right. And like the last few years, I was trying to swing the pendulum so hard in providing that I wasn't providing the necessity of presence. And it was a difficult conversation to have with my daughter when she's like, yeah, I have the nice shoes, the nice clothes. I go to a nice school, but we don't even play a game. Do you know as a man how that feels?
Yeah.
When you're like, damn. So then I'm like, am I actually providing? Because as a man, my value is providing for my family.
Right.
Am I providing?
Yeah.
right? Because you can, in my mind, I can justify providing. I'm making money. I'm building things so that when you get older, you don't have to go through what I went through.
Yeah.
But I'm not providing the thing she needs, and that's my presence.
At the very core of it, you know, like in the caveman sense, you know, you are providing, but there's more.
Way more.
You got to do more. And, you know, I get that. And lucky me, I was called to be a dad, and that's my endeavor. That's what I love to do. I didn't really know who I was going to be as a dad. I think I thought I was going to be like this strict authoritarian. First off, for the girls, that was not necessary. I can be stern one time, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, Daddy.
And 3, 2, 1 still work?
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, you have 3 seconds. 3, 2, and then you get to 1, and it's like whatever it is, it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, my daughter's at half now. So it's 3,
Okay.
2, 1, and then there's like this slight pause before she decides to act correct.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's my baby. What do I do if nothing happens after that?
What are you going to do?
What am I going to do? You know what I mean? Like, so that's something I hope I don't have to figure out. But
yeah. With the girls, I've learned that especially as they get older. So you got a girl?
Yeah.
Yeah. So being present and just listening to them, like, is so important. And I've, I'll get to that in a second, because that's a little thing we'll unpack here. But with Max, my son, that's been the biggest learning thing for me. I thought I was going to be like this hard man, build a child with discipline, and he's just a boy. And while I am giving him those things, like I thought I was going to spank him. And some people on this podcast are going to listen and be like, yes, what's the biblical verse, like spare the rod or whatever it is. Like, I don't need to hit my kid. I don't know. I spanked Max a few times, and it's like one of the biggest regrets of my life. Like a little boy, this big man spanking my son, because I wanted to impose my will on him. For me, that wasn't right. That wasn't right for me and for Max. That's a big regret. And I haven't since then. And so it went on from there, where I couldn't articulate myself. I would be so reactive that I would yell. I would yell at my kids. And some people are going to hear this and be like, well, you got to yell at them. Like, they need to know you're serious. And, because I yell, now my children yell. They just copy what you do. Everything that they do is just a reflection of you. And once I realized that I was doing that, by the way, I had a coach, kind of lead me onto that. It had to stop. And now that there's no yelling in my house, nobody yells in my house. It does a little bit, but not like before. And, as a man, are you telling me you couldn't control yourself? They're children. They're going to do whatever you're going to do, but you're the man. You're getting worked up. You can't even control yourself. That's where I found myself. Like, you don't act like this outside of the house. And so it's been this great lesson for me and how to raise kids. And so, helping my son through this stuff and seeing him start to control himself. It's these great wins inside the Cabral house. My capacity for love is way infinitely larger than I thought it was, being a father. And with my son, I think if this was like 5,000 years ago, my son would be like fighting to take control of the family, like plotting to kill me so he could take over the clan. He's combative.
Oh, how things have changed.
I know, he's combative, but I've found that, this is not for everyone, but like when I escalate with my son, I fight fire with fire, it does not work. He will be like, okay, let's do it then. I'll burn this place to the ground.
They stand on business.
Let's go, Dad. I don't care what it is. Like, and so he will burn it to the ground. And so I've found that backing off, lowering the energy, say, hey, bud, I get it, man. And that is so effective to let him know, like, hey, bud, I see you. I understand what's going on. And instead of escalating on him. And it's so much better. It's so much better. And so probably it's more about, learning and adjusting for what you see, listening to the kids, seeing what, trying and failing, seeing what kind of reactions you get. But Max is so disciplined and he's so tough. He's just turning into a really great boy. And not because I'm like this great father, it's who he is. I think being a parent, we're more of a guide. Those children are not yours. They don't belong to you. You know what? It's like the irony of being a dad. Like they're in your house, they're in your care, and you're teaching them to leave you.
You're preparing them for the world.
You're preparing them for the world. You're a guide.
You're a coach.
You're a coach. 100% yes.
That's a good perspective on it, because oftentimes we see parents who are like, this is like, my house, my rules, my.
Yeah.
And you don't get the reaction that you expect. We expect this discipline and poise from children.
Yeah.
But we're not exhibiting discipline and poise or patience. But that's what we're demanding.
Right. Like when I catch myself getting so angry, it's like, dude, you're an adult. You have control over your emotions. Like, they're just a kid. They're not even fully functionally developed. Their hardware literally isn't there yet.
It's constantly updating.
Yeah.
And what software are you giving it?
Yeah, you're giving them software.
What software are you giving your children?
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you mentioned coaching.
Mm-hmm.
How does that lead into what you're doing, what you guys are doing with Sharp Performance? What is Sharp Performance? Explain to us what Sharp is, what the goal is, what your role is in it, and what you guys expect to.
Do me a favor. Let's back up.
Let's back up.
Because we need to set the stage to how I got there. I think we kind of left off when I got to the NSA. I got this internship at NSA, and that's what moved me to Baltimore. The Baltimore area is where it's at, and that's when I decided, I wasn't an electrical engineer. That wasn't for me. That's where I met my wife, was the Baltimore area. And so when I got to NSA, so I got a clearance. It's like, this is around 2014 timeline. It's when I got this email from a friend. It's like, hey, dude, here's an email, man. I think you might qualify for this job. I was like, what is it? He's like, just email. You'll see what's up. And I get a reply back, and it's an invitation to like a tryout for this contracting gig. And lo and behold, it's a tryout for GRS. You ever heard of GRS before?
Yeah, they take all my money now.
Oh, that's the IRS.
Yeah. The GRS now does like, they put their stamp on stuff, and then the price goes up on everything.
No, what are you talking about?
Like GRS, isn't that the group who does like, they have like risers for like rifles.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. You're talking about GBRS.
GBRS. Okay, never mind. I don't know GRS.
DJ Shipley. He's a Navy SEAL.
Yeah, steal all my money.
Yeah. Take it all. No. This is I got invited to a tryout for a unit at the CIA called GRS.
Okay.
And so that was this thing where I showed up. I didn't really even know what it was.
Another one of your just going with the flow things.
Yeah, you ready for a side quest?
Yeah, the ultimate side quest.
This is a side quest, okay? Yeah. So 2014 ISIS crisis kicks off. Iraq, Syria, overrun. And so GRS sees the need to, expand. They have everything in the Middle East expanded, right? And so I got an invite to go try out. And same thing, man. I won't get into the details about like the tryout or anything, but it's competitive. And you got a requal, every like 2 years for this. Most of my class was dudes that were already on the job. And I think like 4 of us were like brand new candidates. Shooting quals are extremely hard. They're among the hardest. I'd say, the only other harder ones might be like SEAL Team 6 or Delta, but the GRS shooting qual is known to be tenaciously hard. God, I think like half the class had to recycle. It was tough. In fact, it's funny because the backgrounds you have to have for this job is you need to be former special operations. Everybody there is either a SEAL, a Ranger, Special Forces, Air Force PJs, CCT, what have you. And you can always tell the stereotypes shine true in these classes because Rangers, we're rifle boys. We don't do a whole lot with our pistols, but the SEALs, the SF guys, those guys are pistol shooters. They train with their pistols. Rangers typically don't, at least the old school Rangers anyway. And so we show up first day, like, all right, guys, hey, gents, get online, pick a lane, let's start shooting. Let's go 5 meters. Just let's see what you got. Just give me a good grouping. And so I hear the instructor go down the line. I let off a string of 5 shots. And I'm looking around. I'm like, oh, man. And they get down the line like, all right, that's good, man. All right, hey, what? You're jerking the trigger. They're coming to me. And the guy looks at me and he goes, you're a Ranger, weren't you? Like, yeah.
Guilty.
Yeah. It's terrible. Terrible grouping. Because I remember looking around and be like, oh, no, I'm not going to make it. I am not going to make it. Well, it wasn't a pistol shooter. And so I had this instructor there who, because they want people to make it. They need people to make it. That's why I'm there. So they pulled me off the line. One of the lead instructors was like, hey, dude, do me a favor, man. Me and another guy, also a Ranger. They go, hey, dudes, grab 500 rounds. We're going to go on the range next door. And damn it, this guy took me for 4 hours and 400 or 500 rounds later and made me a pistol shooter in one day. Really, it is that simple. But, without that guy's mentorship and leadership, I would not have had that job. But I ended up doing this for, almost 8 years.
Oh,
yeah.
That's quite the side quest.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was my side quest, man. And this is like, I did several deployments to Iraq, many in Syria. You gave me a nice compliment on my shirt, by the way, when I walked in.
I like it.
Scored this at a little in a basement in Syria. I had
vintage.
So it's great, man. When you go overseas, there's like tailors everywhere. You can always find a barber. You can always find a tailor overseas. It's what they do.
That's why you guys always have the beautiful hair. Okay, that's making sense now.
So I would take everything to this tailor. But I found this, the Kurds out there, they had like this style uniform. And I got this from like a YPG commander at like an outpost. But he gave me we did like a swap. I gave him a shirt. He gave me his shirt.
Like doing sports.
Yeah, exactly. Jersey swap.
Yeah.
And so I took this to my tailor and I was like, hey man, make me a little short sleeve button down out of this.
Looks good.
Yeah.
It looks good. It looks fashionable.
It is. He gave me wooden buttons. Well, I guess they're not wood. They were like these plastic looking wood. It's the best they can do in Syria there.
Hey, beggars can't be choosers. Right. So you're doing that, and then how does that lead into what you're doing with Sharp?
Yeah. So I stopped counting after like 20 deployments. 20 is a lot. And the pace of deployment is like 3 months on, 2 months off. 2 months on, 1 month off. And it averages about anywhere from 7 to 9 months per year deployed to a war zone. And so, when you're young and single, I think a lot of cops can probably, identify you're young and single, you're running, you're gunning. It's a lot of fun. It's the adventure of a lifetime. But life happens. I met my wife, fell in love, we had kids, and the weight and stress of these deployments becomes a whole lot heavier when you have kids. And it's not, I never had like one big kinetic incident that traumatized me. I'm a pretty resilient guy, to be honest, but it was deployment after deployment of things and incidents that chip away at your soul and chip away at you as a person and chip away at your body's functions, your endocrine system, your sleep, all these things, they have an impact. And it's really what I call just the cost of admission to this job, and it took a toll on me. And it, like I said, after 20 or so deployments, I stopped counting, and you carry this stress and it's burdensome. And my kids hit kindergarten and my wife was like, hey dude, are you done yet? Like, you're missing key events in your kids' lives. You're coming home and you're screaming at your kids. You're super hyper reactive. You're hyper vigilant. This is not fun anymore. And she was right. God bless my wife, dude. She's the best, man. There's times when it was really, really hard, and I'm just blessed that I had such a good partner. She clung to me and did not let me go.
Pillar of the home.
Yeah, dude. She's my sanctuary, man. So yeah, this all kind of led into Sharp. All my time in GRS flowed towards Sharp because I got out because I needed to be home, and I made this transition. I did my time in sales at Rippling, bottom of the barrel, getting treated like an insect on cold calls, but that was necessary. Well, I got a message in my inbox over LinkedIn, and you probably get these too, but over LinkedIn you get a ton of messages like, "Hey, you interested in this thing?" And largely I ignore that stuff. And this was from a guy named Justin Crocker. Justin Crocker, he's a former Green Beret officer, incredible dude, but he was with Sharp, and he was kind of like the lead recruiter. And our CEO's mission at Sharp, when he's recruiting us, is he wanted dudes with tech sales experience, and he wanted dudes with special operations experience. Very narrow group of people.
Yeah.
Not a lot of them, but they're out there. In fact, a lot of the guys that I work with, they're also former, employees of tech unicorns like Salesforce, Rippling, like me. What's the other one? Zoom Info. A lot of these big blue chip tech companies. But he landed in my inbox. Like, "Hey, dude, like, you interested in something? Let's talk."
You're like, "This isn't spam. This is actually someone."
Yeah.
writing."
Yeah, he's like, want to work with a team, other former special operators. And, it's a very special thing. When you're in that GRS team room, you're surrounded with SEALs, special forces guys, other Rangers. It's a cool place to be. And when he explained the mission of Sharp, I was hooked instantly, man. So here it is. It's a performance coaching platform for high risk professionals. Think fire, police, military, and it's a different take on wellness. I think that wellness, I think the greater community really did their first best effort at wellness around the COVID timeframe, when the peer support teams and trying to approach the stigma and stripping the stigma away. Like, guys, we got to take care of ourselves. It was the first good approach, I think, at wellness and resilience. And although these functions that we have at the agencies are essential, they are effective when they're used. I think what we see is people still don't use them. There's this mistrust there where people are like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm not going to be seen as weak, get my cover blown. What if I go, tell somebody about my business and they air out my dirty laundry? What if I go see the shrink and I'm, not fit for duty all of a sudden?" So people are instantly resistant to that. And so this was the same problem that they saw in special operations about 10 years ago, where the Special Operations Command saw our guys coming home from war, broken, substance abuse, third divorce, suicides skyrocketing. And they said, "Guys, go take care of yourselves." And they gave Special Operations kind of the same set of resources. "Guys, go take care of yourselves. Enough's enough." And nobody used it. So they took a step back and they said, "What can we do to get people to use this stuff?" Because when people do use these things and engage, they're really effective, And so what they landed on, after tens of millions of dollars and different iterations, they landed on the human performance model, specifically performance coaching. And so that's what we bring to fire, police, military units, is performance coaching. It's the next iteration on wellness and resilience, something that people will use and is highly effective.
It almost gives you like something to look forward to, like goals and purpose, because there's constant movement, rather than, I think a lot of the friction comes from, I'm going to sit down and talk about my feelings all day.
Yeah.
Like, which as a cop, what do they tell you? You have to learn how to
compartmentalize.
I can't say that. I speak two languages.
Got you.
You have to be able to shut that off. You have to be stoic. You have to, like, everything tells us to do the opposite.
Yeah.
So then when it comes time to sit in front of someone and face our vulnerabilities, what do? I'm fine. I'm good.
Yeah,
No, it's cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's essentially falling back on our training and experience of, no, everything, I'm just going to put this in this little box over here, and we're just not going to look at the box.
Yeah.
But the box is sitting there collecting dust.
Yeah.
So I love your guys' approach when you came and spoke and gave, I'll say the spiel, all due respect, but
No, yeah.
I'm like, this is it. Like, this is what's going to be,
Thank you.
like, effective.
Yeah.
Because especially the younger generation of officers, like, they want to grow, they want to learn.
Yeah.
And it may not just be in policing, but in life.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they're homesteading, they're doing different business ventures, they're contracting, doing, like, construction. Like, everyone's trying to do more, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And you guys are providing a platform where it's like, hey, let's help you build this armor.
Yeah.
So that you're prepared for what's to come.
That's it.
It's like we're not waiting for the PTSD to come. We're preparing for it.
Yeah.
So that you can manage it if and when it does come.
You're exactly right, man. What we've found is, after talking to hundreds of police agencies, that a lot of these resources that we have, they also tend to be reactive in nature. They're utilized only after there's been a problem. And so, what if we were able to, just like what you're talking about, build those skills up to deal with this stuff? This is resilience. This is actual resilience. So yeah, I'm glad you get it. I'm glad it, resonated with you.
It resonated with everyone in that room.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the agreement was made before we even left.
Thank you.
Which is, I mean, the politics of policing.
Yeah.
So, like, you have to not only impress the command staff, you have to impress the chief, and then the chief has to impress the board, and then the board has to impress their bosses. And then once you go up the ladder, so then it has to come back down.
Yeah.
So, like, communication gets lost, and oftentimes that's where people are like, oh, just never mind. Like, we'll table this, and you never get to it.
Right.
Like, I feel like all that was skipped, and it's just like, we're doing it.
It 100% did, man. It was really cool to see, man. Chief was awesome. He still is. But these police departments, like I said, it's a theme I think you and I have said over and over again, is like, everybody's just doing the best they can. And, when we walk into an agency and tell them about Sharp, there's two reactions that we can typically get. And the one is the acceptance and the welcome nature, which is what I got from you guys. And second is a rejection, where people are, you can see the wellness folks, like, putting their arms out, like, oh, no, you're not going to touch my wellness area. And I wish I could help them see the light that, like, it's not what you think. We're not here to take your job. We're not here to change what you're doing. What we're doing is something totally different and separate and new. And what we're doing is actually meant to take stuff off of your plate. We want to take stuff off the mundane maintenance part of wellness and resilience off your plate, so that you can be more strategic and impactful with your efforts as a peer support leader, as a clinician, or therapist in the at the agency. This is just going to empower you more at what you do.
Well, it's like, what do we like to say in law enforcement and the military? Adding a tool to your tool belt.
Mm-hmm. It's a tool
with everything, right?
It's in the box.
Why don't we approach this the same way?
Yeah.
It's like, this is just another tool to your tool belt.
Right.
It's quite the universal tool.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is the tool to add if you're going to add anything. But, I resonate with it. Like, not only, I was like, dope dude, but, like, dope goals as well.
That's right.
Got to have you on the podcast and talk about it.
Man.
Because there's a lot of police departments who are shifting towards this proactive rather than reactive.
Yep.
And, in the short time, I'm talking to people about it, and they're like, oh, I've never even heard of them. I'm like,
cool.
Wow.
Good.
How?
We're coming.
Like, yeah, like how?
Yeah.
Like, okay, here's this, like, this is what they are. And I'm like, you just got to sit with him, because obviously the way I give the spiel isn't the way you give the spiel. Like you were so, this is who we are. This is what we do. This is what we're comprised of. These are our goals. This is how we can fit into what you're currently doing. This is how we can grow what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, and being able to tailor that to all the departments I'm affiliated with, I'm like, just reach out to them, out to them. So I'm hoping that this is something we start to see enacted more, not just law enforcement, but fire, EMS.
Yep.
You know, last night we had a call. I told you I'm on a long shift. I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but I'm on an extra long shift last night. And EMS is in the woodworks with us.
Okay.
Like they're dealing with the same thing we're dealing with.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and they don't have the tools we have, but they're exposed to the same exact thing that we were exposed to.
Yeah, they are. They
you know,
sure
so it's
are,
like,
man.
Maybe that's something they can, you know, not even that. Now we have TEMs in our unit. Like these are medics.
Yeah.
Being asked to step into a role they probably were never meant to step into.
This is perfect for any EMS unit. You know, we're you know, I won't say who yet, but we're about to partner with a huge EMS agency here in the area, and they are very excited to get on board with Sharp.
That's awesome.
So it's, you know, it's for everybody. And, you know, like I said, one of the big things that we're really proud of, there's these resources that you guys have, and there are new resources coming in, but what we see, you know, what was the problem that special operations had in the beginning was utilization. That's the theme. People don't use it for a number of reasons, whether it's the stigma, whether it's the mistrust, whether it's the, you know, reactive nature of things. What we want to see is a 40% utilization is what we see with Sharp. On average, among all the almost 100 different agencies that we have across America, we're super proud to boast a 40% average. Imagine close to half the agency getting coaches, working on goals, you know, and being held to this stuff. It's incredible.
It's just it fascinates me because being in the business world, all the people I look up to who are doing the thing, they all have mentors.
Yeah,
they all have coaches.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is something that's not a secret. Right? You can look at the most successful business owner, entrepreneur, he has a coach.
They all have coaches.
We're now providing that to the everyday person.
Yeah.
You have a business coach, a fitness coach, a whatever coach, like, what do you want to talk about? Let's talk about it.
That's it.
Coach.
Man.
Yeah. Which I appreciate because we're very vulnerable. Like, who are the peer support teams in our departments and these agencies? Your fellow coworkers.
Right.
So now I have to sit with you and tell you, hey, this call really did something to me. I'm hurting. And then next shift, I have to go on a call with you.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, man, is he going to think I'm like, I can't handle this?
Right.
Is he going to think? So it creates this friction automatically. And I get what they're doing, right? These agencies, like, these are the people you work with every day. You trust them.
Yeah.
But also there's that. So like there's the familiarity.
Right.
But on the different side of the token, you're now wondering, like, man, is this dude going to say something?
Right.
Or like, does he think I'm weak? Like, I can handle this. So it creates this friction already.
Yeah.
This eliminates that. This is a third party outside of the agency who can look in and go, hey, this is, you know, this is what's going on. Let's talk about this. And then when you leave that meeting, that conversation, you're like, okay, I don't have to worry about like my vulnerability being exposed.
Everything we do at Sharp is completely separate from the agency. That, in fact, imagine if we robbed somebody of that trust and like reported something back to the agency. The entire thing would fall apart. It's built on trust. What we do, and you know, the chief command staff will never know who's getting coaching, and they'll never know the topics being discussed. All they'll get is like a very vanilla black and white utilization report. And I think it's better that way. I think the chief's command, they don't want to know. They just want to know you're getting, you know, people are getting help.
And this is a question that I'm sure has come up, or someone probably listening thought of. But let's say you're talking to someone and now they're exhibiting this like this behavior that could be detrimental to themselves, or their families, or their department. In a sense of, I'm talking like safety extreme wise. Like, how do you guys handle that?
Well, it depends on how they're acting. I mean, if somebody has a plan to hurt themselves or hurt others, No exceptions. We're coming to the command and we're looping them in right away, immediately. We hold the sanctity of life, above all else, and we throw everything else out the window. I mean, I think everybody will agree. We want to intervene when someone needs help, true help, right there. So yeah, if someone's talking about suicide, yeah, we're going to loop you in right away because I mean that's the most important thing is preservation of life. Yeah,
I would agree with that. Because I think what happens is it goes ignored for so long, and then the water spills over, and then we're here.
Yeah.
Right? Where what you guys are doing, you're stepping in all those steps to hopefully avoid that water tipping over.
Right.
So, like, if you're listening, you're like, man, what if they're going to... It's like, no. Like, there's a lot of steps that has to be done before that. So,
yeah,
I think this is... If you're listening, if you're a part of if you're law enforcement, fire, EMS, you guys work with veterans as well.
Yeah.
How does the veteran approach work? Because they're no longer affiliated with an organization. So do they reach out to you for one-on-one, or is it like do you get a team together?
The vet like right now we work with entire units. So we can't do there's no one-on-one singles. We want to be involved with the entire unit. So like if we are with entire military units, entire police departments, entire fire departments. That's kind of how like the model works right now at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
If someone is interested in this for their department, how does that initial setup work? Like, can they reach out to you, or do you prefer the command staff to reach out?
I'll talk to anybody. I mean, that's what we do. It's my mission that every single police department, fire department, and frankly, any high-risk profession in America has access to performance coaching. It's my mission. It's like it keeps me up at night. That's all I think about, ideas about how we can make this better, how we can bring this to more agencies, because it is just so effective and culture changing. It's amazing. So, you could get a hold of us on the website. There is a link that you can click on there to submit your information to learn more. You can reach out to me directly. I'll put my information on. Is there can you take my email address? People can reach out.
Oh yeah,
directly.
it'll be I'll put it all in there.
Y'all reach out to me. You want to just rap? Man, we'll talk about this stuff. This is what I do, and I'm very passionate about it, man. The coaches that we have in our stable of coaches are incredible. The breadth and width of expertise and experience. These are coaches that are all former law enforcement veterans. They're all former special operations veterans. We've got pro athletes, chaplains. There's somebody for everybody. And they all have like a different expertise, whether it's work-life balance, finance, nutrition, leadership, professional development. There's so many things of different people that we have. And they're guys just like me and you who walked a mile in your shoes, and they get you. A lot of times you go to therapy or whatever and you get some clinician, and although many of our coaches are clinicians and therapists, they don't operate in that manner. We're not diagnosing anybody. There's no prescriptions being made. But they don't get your dark humor. You can go in there and you can crack the jokes and talk.
I'd be in trouble immediately.
But we get you, because it's guys just like you, and we talk your language. Literally, we come from the same locker room.
Yeah, the model itself is amazing. Like, let's say there's a sergeant exam coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I can now talk with my coach regarding leadership and like, how do I best prepare for this? Or let's say everyone's getting into fitness now, which I love to see. Like, we see a shift in law enforcement,
absolutely,
which is long overdue. But now you have a coach who you can talk to about that, your process, your journey, and like, it's still your friends and your wife, your husband, all. But now you have a designated party who is invested in your goal, because that is what they're here for.
Right.
Like, you have the entire gambit.
Yeah.
And in the conversation you guys had, you have the transitioning from law enforcement to civilian.
Yeah.
There's someone who can help you with that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, a lot of, especially cops, I can speak to cops because I'm surrounded by them. It's their entire identity.
Yeah.
They go home, they're a cop. They go to church, they're a cop.
man.
They go to work, obviously they're a cop. Like, now I'm not going to be a cop anymore. What happens to my life?
Yeah.
You know, having someone who's been there, done that, got the T-shirt to kind of walk you through and show you, like,
Yeah.
hey, this, like, let's talk about it. What do you feel you need? What's going on? It's like, I think it's wonderful. Sharp Performance. Check them out. Google them. Literally, it's the first thing that pops up. So
Good. Glad to hear we're top of the algorithm now.
Top of the algorithm now. Probably taking a lot of time. But as we wind down, I kind of want to like shift the energy to a more laid back fun. This is the segment I call the Relentless Rapid Round. So quick answers, no thinking.
Do I need to get like a wide base here?
What do you call yourself? You mentioned something before, the something white belt. 10-year white belt.
Oh, I'm like a 25-year
25-year white belt. That's what it was. Yeah. Widen your base because it's about to get crazy. No.
Right.
What is harder? A freezing night on Sniper Overwatch or chopping enough wood to heat your house for the winter?
The Sniper Overwatch. The freezing Sniper Overwatch.
Man, chopping wood all day.
I want to chop wood.
Oh,
dude.
really?
I get out there, I'm angry. I'm just like,
adds to the
get it out, dude.
the performance and wellness.
I
chopping
get it out,
wood.
bro.
Bottom of the ninth, 2 outs in your Sunday men's league. What pitch are you sitting on?
Meatballs. It's 40 and over, bro. Nobody's humping it in there.
You'd be surprised.
They're out there. There are. There's a guy in our league who's he's badass. He's Japanese. He played in some badass league in Japan, and that dude can hump it in there. There's a couple others that pitch pretty well. What ball am I sitting on? Man, I'm sitting off speed away because I crowd the plate, and I'm reacting fastball. It works. I can get away with it.
There you go. Yeah. It's so interesting you mentioned that. So we do like a first responders tournament, softball tournament every year.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be fun. It's for charities to raise money for first responders in need, right? So we always think about the people in need, but like there's first responders who are struggling, who also need love and attention.
Yeah.
So the charity focuses on providing for them, right? Like the one family of a local chief who was killed.
Yeah.
We donated to them. We donated to, the Jimmy Ellis Foundation, Firefighter Foundation. So it's supposed to be fun and for a good cause. But then you get in there, and I remember this past August, I'm getting called, you got to go to the plate. These two are about to fight because I'm like, what is going on? And like the trophy that you win, you get your name on it, and then you have to return it next year.
Yeah.
So like,
that's cool.
You're not playing for anything.
No.
Bragging rights.
Dudes are out there popping hamstrings.
Literally, I tore my hamstring. Like, I'm like, what are we doing here? This is for charity. So like, it gets pretty competitive.
Yeah.
I love it because it's a bunch of cops, fire, and EMS. It's all first responders. And then, we had the VA come out.
Yeah.
I'm like, the U.S. Marshals had a team. Like,
wow.
Yeah, like it gets huge. And everyone's just like bumping heads. I'm like,
too much.
Are we forgetting what we're here for?
Too much, man.
So yeah, those Sunday leagues can get pretty dicey, I'm sure. This was going to be tough, being the 25-year white belt, but your favorite submission to use when an operator drags you onto the BJJ mats?
Bro, if an operator drags me on a BJJ mat,
the catch
my
an
day's
elbow.
already over. My day's already over, bro. I'm not submitting anybody. I'm figuring out how I can bring my arm back without getting tapped out.
That's fair.
Any submission. I mean, shit. I don't know. Some kind of arm bar.
Yeah. Hey, when in doubt, stretch it out. This one you might like. Which animal in your farm is the absolute biggest pain in the ass to deal with?
The horses.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, my sister-in-law Julia is probably cracking up right now because like the horses scare the shit out of me. They just scare me. I'm like, but I'm a man. I can get in there. I can tough it up. She makes me take horses, sometimes to the barn. We're bringing them out from the paddock. The goats are a breeze. I love the goats. They're the cleanest, easiest, most adorable animals on the farm.
See, but I feel like they have like just a mind of their own.
They do. We had a tree come down in a storm a couple weeks ago, and it landed on the goat paddock, and it broke the top bar, and I was like, that's too high. They can't get over that. And damn it, the goats have been getting out the past couple of days.
They're goats.
That's what they do.
It's what they do.
Find a way to escape.
And then they're at your back door like, what's up?
That's exactly what they do. They come to my house. And it's cool. It's like, oh, look who's here.
It's
this
like,
is great.
I'm hungry and you missed chow. So here I am.
Yeah. I don't know. All the animals are easy.
So back to that quick story. We're tending the horses.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, so you're dealing with these giant horses.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the day, they have these two little mini horses, Sprite and I forget what the other one's name is. I want to say Precious, maybe.
Yeah.
One was Sprite. I love Sprite. If you know me, I love drinking Sprite. So I'm like,
okay,
I'll pick Sprite.
Yeah.
And they do this obstacle course, and like you have to get, without touching them, you have to get them to put both their hooves inside this hula hoop.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have them knock this ball off the cone.
Oh.
And then you have to walk them up the ramp and down the other side without touching them.
All right.
And you get like a lead or whatever. You don't get a lead, you get like whatever the poles are.
Right.
So the whole time, all day, we have the leads on the horses. We're creating this connection, and then they follow us. You can let the lead go. They follow you. Now you have to be completely hands off. What they didn't tell us was the little horses do not give a damn about what you want them to do. It's their world. We're just living in it.
Just ornery.
So just imagine a bunch of cops trying to like lead these horses without touching it into a hula hoop.
A bunch of cops.
Okay. We're like, hey.
And you pick Sprite.
I picked Sprite, who later they tell us like, oh, Sprite, she doesn't like to entertain anything.
You're never going to win with Sprite.
We didn't win. So it teaches you a lot about yourself and patience, right? Like cops, we want to like, we're authoritative. Right. We tell you what to do, and you got to do it because I have a badge. This horse is like, bro, move.
Yeah.
Like, move. I'm about to eat hay. Get out of my way.
Yeah,
like,
they want the hay.
It was an interesting experience. What is one thing that your kids have taught you about yourself that a drill sergeant never could?
Everything, bro. Everything, man.
Love.
It's love.
Compassion.
It's patience. I just want to, it's just, I don't know. It's being a father. It's being who I'm supposed to be. Drill sergeant didn't teach me who I was supposed to be. He taught me basic military shit, how to kill, drill and ceremony, some discipline. Man, with my kids, they taught me who I'm supposed to be.
Like none of that matters.
No, dude, I've done, so, you read the thing at the beginning, and I've got some things to hang my hat on. And like my kids will point to something like, Dad, what is that? Like this? Oh, this is like an award I got for this big deal. And, I'll turn around and look at them and be like, all right, anyway.
Yeah.
Back to Paw Patrol.
You're like, I thought you were listening.
They're not impressed with that at all. They're impressed with who I am. Like, how do I show up every day? And like, dude, I just want to freeze time. Yeah.
It's like a double-edged sword, right? It's like, I look at my daughter, I'm like, where did time go? Like, she's turning into this beautiful young woman, and she's navigating the world, and like, I'm watching her do her homework. Where once I sat with her and walked her through all this, and now she's like walking me through it.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, it's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah.
And then you're scrolling through your phone and you see the picture when they were 3 and on their little power wheel, and you're like,
my wife and I did that the other day.
When did that happen?
Yeah. I've cried more in my life in the last like 3 to 5 years than I ever did since I was like a little boy. Like, my kids bring me to tears all the time.
That's beautiful. And it's like, we want them to be babies forever.
Oh man.
But then you also want them to conquer the world.
I know.
And you're like, wow, like which one do I want?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, can I have both? Just start all over. Have another one. No?
Yeah.
Kids, man, they've taught me more about myself than I could ever put into words. Like, I always say this, like, my daughter will never know the impact she had on my life. Like, she saved me.
Yeah.
And she'll never know until she hopefully has kids one day.
Yep.
Like, she'll never know.
My life would be very different if I didn't have my kids, and not in a good way.
Same. I wouldn't be on this podcast.
Yeah.
I'd be behind glass or something.
Yeah.
From the Ranger Battalion to the family farm, what does relentless mean to Alex Cabral?
Relentless. It's it's just it's in me, it's that positivity. That's what it is for me. From, Ranger Battalion to the family farm, Relentless is finding your purpose, finding that flow state, finding things what bring you into flow state. And then when you do find that, that's the time to be relentless about what you do.
And now, where I like to tie it all in, we've heard about your story, we've heard about your accomplishments, we've heard about your goals and what you're doing. You've been to war, you've built a career, and now run a homestead with 3 kids. To the listener who says they're too busy to be present with their family or take control of their life, what is a piece of advice you have for them?
Too busy. We're all too busy. First off, if you're too busy, that's a good thing, because you're taking action, and that's a good thing. So if you're taking action and you're too busy, great. Let's prioritize now. What are your priorities? What are you too busy for? I hope that you know you're too busy and that you need to allocate more time to your family, the things that actually matter. I hate to say it, it's not important to some people. And like my good friend TJ White said, they'll know it when they know it. And if they're not open, they won't be shown it, and they won't know. And, some would say, well, they're going to get to a point where it's too late. Yeah, it could be too late, or better late than never. Your father's here now. He's here with his grandkids. He missed some stuff. Some would say he was too late, but he's right on time for his grandkids. Is that right?
Mm. Yes.
So, some people aren't there, and they're too busy, and they got their head down. And when you ask them, what are your priorities? What's the most important thing? Could be providing. Could be like, I don't have time to crawl around the floor with my kids. I don't have time to listen to them. I'm out here providing. I'm putting food on the table, man. I'm building us a future. Yeah, it's important. Hopefully something can open up their eyes to being more present. But, it's complicated. We're all just doing our best.
We're all here for the first time.
Yeah.
And I hope you open your eyes before someone has to open them for you.
Right.
Right? Like, be proactive in what you're doing and conscious in what you're doing, because it's like hard, right? Like things that are hard.
Yeah.
You can willingly do things that are hard to prepare you, or you can be left unprepared having to deal with things that are hard.
Yeah. God will show you a way, man. He'll show you, he'll humble you. Are you Christian?
Yes.
You are? I am too.
Yes. He's been working on me diligently this year.
Good. All right. Has it been painful?
Yeah, but
Really?
it's always sweet at the end.
Okay, good.
So it's like, I always tell people, especially now, I'm like, it goes back to why I'm always positive.
Yeah.
I'm like, because for a long time, I've known God, but it's been very recent where I've started to obey God.
Yeah.
Like everyone knows of God, but are we obeying God? Are we leaning into that relationship? And like when you start doing that, you start to understand a lot of things. And even in the lessons, I'm like, there's something here for me, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Sucks right now, but I know you're going to get me through.
Yeah. Having kids has been the greatest analogy to like my relationship with God, where like, I've been doing dumb shit along the way. And I think God must just be so disappointed with me. Like I'm, I thank God I've got the Bible, because I wouldn't know otherwise. I would think he'd cast me aside. But when you have kids and they act up and do their dumb shit, it's like nothing they can do will drive me away from them. They're always going to be mine, and we'll work through this. And God's the same way.
Well, and think of the divinity, right? Like your approach to your kids.
Mm-hmm.
You're not perfect.
No.
He is.
Mm-hmm.
So think about how much better that is for you.
Infinite.
For us.
Yeah.
And that's the perfect example. I try to tell my daughter, I'm like, this was disappointing. You upset me. but I love you more than you could ever fathom.
Cool.
Nothing changes,
Yeah.
right? Like, let's get back on course.
Wow.
Let's figure this out.
Yeah.
But like, there's no shame over here,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, I'd rather you tell me and come to me
Yeah.
because I already know. I was that age.
Yeah.
I did these things. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like that's the way I try to describe it. It's like a healthy, loving relationship
Yeah.
as
Definitely.
a father to son or father to child,
Yeah.
right? Like we're not perfect. So if you look at your kid a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like they can do no wrong. We see these parents.
Yeah.
They can do no wrong.
Yeah.
How much better is God for us?
Infinitely.
Think of it.
Oh gosh, man.
If someone's listening and they're burning out in the city, dreaming of that new American dream homestead life, what is the very first step they need to take to make it a reality?
It's that's complicated because, it's all I hear. I call this the new American dream, is getting away from the city and having a homestead and providing for yourself and animals and space, fresh air and grass. And so there is this desire to get away from the city and go do that. What's blocking you from doing that? Well, a lot of money, frankly. Getting land, proximity to a job, that can provide from that. That's why I tell people, better take risks early. You better do it while you're young, because it's much harder to take risks when you're a man with a family.
That's true.
I think the future of people's living situations is going to change. No longer is the American dream where a single family unit going to reside in one home. Singular people are not going to reside in one home very quickly, like within the next 10, 15, 20 years. At the rate that home prices are appreciating and the rate that inflation is going and your dollar having less buying power, the American dream is gone of living in the neighborhood and owning a home. So it's going to have to be family clusters. Like the farm that I live on, we have several families that live on our farm, and that's what you're going to have to see. I think it's very likely that my children are going to live on our farm. We're going to there's other plots of land we'll be able to build on. I've got an in-law suite. It's very likely that one of the barns is going to be, converted into a home. People are going to have to get together and use collectively use their money to achieve that, realistically. If not, then you gotta make bank.
Yeah.
And it sucks, dude, because it's just the way the world is right now. But things are expensive, man. How can you get out in the country, get a little plot of land and homestead? It's going to take a lot of money, unfortunately.
Take risk early.
Take risks.
It's almost like we're hitting the reset button.
Yeah.
It's like back in the day, families were units together.
That's right.
Clans.
That's right.
And then everyone kind of went on their own.
Yeah.
And now it's almost being forced to coming back.
Yes.
Trading, bartering.
It's by necessity.
By necessity.
Yeah. We're stronger together. Your tribe.
I love it. I don't like the way it's happening, but what is happening of families are coming back together. People are relying on each other. Like you said, I can't do this on my own. So now I have to depend on someone and trust someone so we can build this together, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, man.
Get a couple friends, go buy some land, put some walls up.
Bingo.
Name it something cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've conquered a lot of mountains. What is the vision for Alex Cabral, the farm, and Sharp Performance over the next 5 years?
5 years, man.
It's a long time, but it's a good time.
So my territory with Sharp is the Northeast. It's the Mid-Atlantic. It's Virginia, all the way out to Ohio and everything north. And, it's my mission that I am, just like with you guys, I'm connecting with agencies and forming personal relationships and coming back to people and seeing guys like you and being like, yeah, I got a guy in Pittsburgh,
Yeah, yeah, you do.
I love the relationships that I'm forming. I love seeing these guys. And personally for me, Alex Cabral, 5 years, the first place my brain goes is, well, wherever I'm going to be in 5 years, it's going to be with my wife and kids. Like, what phase of life am my kids going to be in? It's going to be basically what you're doing right now. They're going to be in high school.
Fun time.
You know, how's it going to be then when like my quality time has all but left and I'm going to have to start understanding that they're their own person now and I just got to be there to support them. I will have so much more time to do all the things that I want to do. Oh my God, the house is going to be fixed up. Everything's going to
more
be
horses because he loves the horses.
No more horses.
You heard it here. More horses. He's getting miniatures.
Dude, you know, I want to go back. You know, I owned a surfboard company for a little while. This will be on the next podcast.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to learn about this.
I can go back to shaping surfboards again. You know, I had a vision, a great idea. I'll tell you offline because I don't want anybody stealing my ideas. But I've got a great idea about some baseball equipment that nobody does. It's an original thought. Not a lot of those out there. So you know, I've got some ideas.
We got to cut the cameras because I need to learn this.
Yeah. You know, maybe we'll be business partners.
Hey, don't tempt me with a good time.
What we do, man. Yeah.
Don't tempt me with a good time. I'll come up with the logo tonight while we're at dinner. Like, this is the logo.
Let me share my logo. My logo could use some tweet. I would love to get some input.
Yeah, we'll talk.
We'll talk. Yeah,
we'll talk in a little
consultation
bit.
is what we'll call it.
Yeah. We'll write it off. And the easiest question I've probably asked you all night.
All right.
Where can people find out more about Sharp Performance and connect with you if they're looking to implement this or learn more about Sharp Performance?
Go to sharpperformance.com. Email me, alex@sharpperformance.com. You know, I would love to connect with you guys and tell you more about what we're doing and the impact we're making across America with first responders and high-risk professions. We're on X, we're on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, all of that. Come follow us there.
Awesome.
Keep you updated. And
I'd be remiss not to mention, but you guys were also featured on Sean Ryan's podcast.
Please check that episode out. We were invited on the Sean Ryan Show podcast back in December, right before Christmas. My good friend Steve Bunting was on the podcast. You know, he's got an incredible story. I won't say anything. That's his story to tell, but you got to listen to it. My CEO asked me, he's like, how would you like to go do the Sean Ryan Show? And I was like, I think we all knew it was going to be Steve. Steve did not disappoint. His episode was incredible. I think I cried 3 times while listening to it. As a grown man right here, don't be doing anything important while you listen to his podcast because you'll break down in tears.
Yeah, this ain't a put it on in the background type of podcast. Neither is this one. So if you've been doing that, I'm calling you out. But if you haven't watched that,
thank you for plugging that.
No, of course. Yeah. Go check it out. I think your approach to it and then hearing that side, you can get more of what Sharp Performance is doing in the industry and the goals and also it's awesome to hear the people behind the scenes, right? Like there's so many awesome and this is just 2 of I don't know how big the team is. This is the 2 stories of a plethora of people.
They've all got each dude has been hired because he's got an impactful story,
which I find amazing.
Yeah.
And that's why I love doing this podcast because it's like I love when people come on and they're like, I don't really have much to talk about. I'm like, bro, I didn't reach out to you because you don't have anything to talk about. Yeah. Right? Like, let me, like, as long as you're willing to share, let me deal with what to talk about.
Sure.
You just show up.
That's
like,
right.
I got this. This is my arena.
Yeah, man.
Just show up. Like, obviously, I love what you're doing and your mindset. So let me deal with that.
Thank you, bro.
So everyone has an awesome story. So go check that out. Check out Sharp Performance. I appreciate you for coming on.
Yeah. One more thing before you go on. I brought you a gift. I've been having it on the table here the whole time, but I brought you this book. It's called Operator Syndrome, and it's part of what we do at Sharp. It's written by a man by the name of Dr. Chris Free. He was a clinician with the VA who saw tons of special operations soldiers coming back from war, and he basically had this thesis where the VA was overdiagnosing people with PTSD. And he was like, there's no way. This is not, these people aren't broken like we are trying to make them. It's not, the VA was using this easy button, he calls it, pressing that big red easy button with PTSD, saying, all right, guys, here's your Here's your SSRIs and your long-lasting relationship with a shrink. Congrats, you're broken. You have PTSD now. And he rejected that notion, and he kind of changed the paradigm where he said that we can fix, first off, you're normal. Second, we can fix you where, the first thing our coaches do through the framework of operator syndrome is, are you getting sleep? Are you getting 8 hours of sleep without pills and alcohol? Let's get you that first. Second, how's your endocrine system? Hormones. It doesn't necessarily have to be, oh, you got low T, here's, testosterone injections forever. There's other things we can do to help you there. And it can make you feel a lot better, make your cognition a whole lot better, make you a better teammate, better family member. And Ish, when you read this book, you're going to flip every page and you're going to be like, dude, this is me. And I'm telling you, man,
I appreciate it.
You're going to read this book, and every single page it's going to be about you or somebody you know. It's crazy. So this is a white paper, peer-reviewed white paper that he wrote about 4 or 5 years ago, and he ended up writing a book about it called Operator Syndrome.
I appreciate it, brother. This will be the next thing I read because I've taken to reading. I actually have the TRP library where I have a bunch of books that I've read.
Yeah, man.
That have shaped me and motivated me and inspired me or caused me to kind of think outside the box. So it's on the website.
Warning to your wife, you're going to be reading this, and from the other room, you're like, hey, babe, you're going to check this out. You're going seriously. I can't believe this. Everything, every single chapter, bro. It's going to blow you away.
I appreciate it. I have a gift for you, too. You being in the military, I'm sure you know what challenge coins are. So that is the official Relentless challenge coin that you have more than earned. Oh, yeah.
That's nice.
Oh, yeah. It's raised up and everything.
You think I'm going to leave you empty-handed, big dog?
Oh, look at that. That's by design. Oh, this one's a lot cooler.
No, come on.
Oh,
man.
yeah. This is a lot. I don't have one of these.
What's that?
The Ranger coin.
Yeah, now you do.
Now I do. I'm going to add that. I appreciate it, brother. This is the one with Alex Cabral. Go check out Sharp Performance. I appreciate you guys for listening, and we are out. Later. And that was Alex Cabral. Before we close out today, I have a challenge for you this week. Alex talked about being heavily involved in the first responder community and mental wellness. True social leadership. In a world where everybody's complaining on the internet about how bad things are, Alex is actually out in his community, standing on the dirt, organizing something real for the next generation. Your challenge this week is the Step to the Plate challenge. I want you to find one way to lead in your physical, local community this week. Not online, I mean in real life. Volunteer to coach a team, organize a neighborhood cleanup, or just take the initiative to fix something on your street that's broken. Stop waiting for someone else to step up and be the leader your community needs. If you're inspired by this conversation, share this episode with one friend who you believe would be motivated. Follow the Relentless Project on Instagram, X, and YouTube at Relentless PRJCT. Like, share, subscribe, drop a comment, show some love so we can keep bringing you awesome guests with relentless stories. And remember, we don't settle, we don't quit, and we don't wait for permission. Love you all. I'm Ish. This is the Relentless Project, and I will see you on the next one. Later.